6 guests. So,
Yeah.
hey,
Whoa, hey.
hey, how you doing, man?
Live TV, folks, nothing like it.
Yeah, live TV, man. Hey, thanks for doing the hang. We're on the Black Spinner Music Podcast. I'm Al Horta. Just south of me is my co-host, Andy Rodriguez. How are you, Andy?
Guys, how's it going?
I'm going good, man. Going good. We got Chris Elliott from Redbeard Videos. How you doing, Chris?
Doing all right. It's good to be here. I made this one. I missed last night's, but I'm here for tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you are, man. And
I'm glad I'm here too.
Resident, guest, and he's almost weekly now, bro. Pretty soon, Andy's gonna have him be a co-host and kick me out of here. Mr. Joe Staub, how you doing, Joseph?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, man.
Of course.
All right, man. So tonight we got a cool topic, man. I came up with this idea. It's the third month of the year, March. So I wanted to come up with I kind of like doing like theme type things, and I want to do third albums by power trios, 3-man bands. So top 10 with 5 honorables. And I thought this would get the brain thinking there. Third albums. You gotta think of all your favorite power trios and then think of their third albums, and then the list is going to be a little different then, because your favorite power trio, your favorite band their third album might not be your favorite. So it's kind of, makes you think a bit. So that's my idea. And before we get to that, we're going to get to the What's Spinning part of the show, like something that we've been listening to the past week, few days, whatever. And we'll start off with Chris. Anything you've been listening to the past few days? Anything that's been catching your ear?
Yeah. Actually, ironically, this is actually interesting because I forgot that we do this on this show.
Yeah.
And something that I accidentally. So 2 things. I've been listening to 2 things. One is very ironic, and I'll get to that in a second because I've been listening to them a lot. The other one was I just the pop band, alt rock pop band, 21 Pilots just announced their tour today, and I was ultra excited about it. So I was listening to them and their new songs, and very, very excited about that. But the other thing I've been listening to a lot, especially over the past week, is a band out of Woodstock, New York called 3. Don't know if any of you know this band, but they are absolutely awesome, and they're not the same band as the famous one that's out from the Bay Area, which is also called 3. This band came out in I want to say the early 2000s, and the most notable member of this band is Joey Eppard, who is the singer and the guitarist, but his brother Josh Eppard is the longtime drummer for Coheed and Cambria. So that's where that branched off to. They're from the same spot. Coheed and Cambria and 3 are from the same area. So, but 3 is awesome. They have, I think they have like 4 or 5 albums. They haven't really done much in the past several years. Joey Eppard had to have carpal tunnel syndrome surgery, and he's very intricate acoustic guitar player. So, but they're an awesome band, great melodies, great technical stuff. Check out 3 for sure. The End Has Begun is probably the best album, and start there and go forward. So
cool.
That's what I've been listening to.
Awesome, man. Joe, how about you, brother?
Yeah, so lately I know I posted one of the songs from this on Facebook a couple days ago. Probably my album of 2022, so 2 years ago. Also a great comeback album, Scorpions, Rock Believer.
Ooh,
Scorpions.
Yeah. Great comeback album. Probably my favorite album from them in a long time. And I'm a pretty big fan of their more recent albums, much more than a lot of people are. I'm much more open to some of their 2000s, 2010s stuff. But still, this blew me away when I first heard it. I mean, I think Peacemaker was the first single, and it was like, wow, what the heck? Where did this come from? And then you remember, oh yeah, this is the first album since Mickey D joined the band. And you're like, yeah, that'll do it. So I mean, just so many amazing songs. Gas in the Tank, the opener. And then my favorite run on the album is the title track, Shining of Your Soul, and Seventh Son. Just a great run of 3 tracks right in the middle of the album. 3 amazing tracks right in a row. And I think this is just a great album. Anyone who's a fan of the Scorpions and hasn't checked this album out yet in the 2 years that it's been out, I mean, why? But if you haven't, you definitely should. And if you're a fan of just traditional hard rock, heavy metal, definitely give this a listen. It's a really, really great modern album from a classic band.
It's funny that you mentioned fan of Scorpions because for some reason, like I don't ever dislike. That's one of those bands I don't dislike, but I for whatever reason never thought to see if they made something new in the past 2 decades.
They made a lot. They
Coming
actually
up, yeah,
fairly regularly put some albums.
I just
out.
looked. I just looked, and there's a lot, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and again, I'm not the biggest Scorpions guy, but I like everything I've ever heard.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things.
This what I would say about this. This was a really consistent album. There's some of their more recent albums have been kind of hit and miss, where there's some really good stuff, but also some just really generic kind of wind of change kind of ballads and that kind of stuff on there. This is a really, really consistent album. Definitely their most consistent since the early 80s, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that are very guilty of that because I left them probably in the early '90s and I saw releases. I just never gave it a shot. And then when they came out with this one, I heard a couple of tracks and I just never went back to it. But I probably will go back to it here very soon.
I definitely recommend it. It's what I would say is they released an album in the early 2000s called Unbreakable, and that's really good, and nobody really talks about that one, but that one's a really good album. But then there was 3 albums in a row. It was Humanity Hour 1, Sting in the Tail, and Return to Forever, that if you lumped all 3 of them together, you could probably make a really killer album between the 3 of them. But then you had this one that came out a couple years ago that it blew a lot of people away. People that had, like you, Andy, kind of given up on the Scorpions back way back, came to this one and said, whoa, where has this been for the last 30, 35 years?
Yeah, I gotta check that out. Thanks for bringing that up. Even though I saw you post about it.
Yeah. That's the one I posted, Shining of Your Soul, is definitely my favorite song. If you like the song, Is There Anybody There off Love Drive, that has the more little kind of reggae beat to it.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That the song Shining of Your Soul has that similar kind of reggae feel to it.
Oh wow, okay.
They had a reggae kind of song too on Love at First Sting. As soon as the good times roll, I think that was
that's one of my favorite deep cuts on that album.
Yeah, that was a bit reggae-ish too. I remember that. That's the first Scorpions album I ever got. Actually, is when I was young. Was my brother had the Love at First Sting cassette, and I know a lot of fans start kind of falling off on that one, but I think that's still, for me, Rock Believer. That one is the most solid one since probably Love at First Sting for me. I know a lot of people say Blackout, but I came in to them on Love at First Sting, so that album kind of holds a special place for me. So I still love that album. But to me, that was like, after that, that's when, Savage Amusement was the kind of the beginning of the kind of the drop off in quality,
Yeah.
So, although I liked a lot. There's some songs on there I like. There's some songs on every album. Like I like some songs, except Eye to Eye.
There's one, even Pure Instinct. I'm not a fan of either. Wild Child's pretty good, but that's about it.
Eye to Eye, I never really heard actually, but people were so turned off by that I never even listened to it. So I don't know.
The lead single, the album itself is just so all over the place. The lead single is one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. It's called To Be Number One. There's a really it came out right after the Monica Lewinsky scandal, and the music video has like 50 women dressed up as Monica Lewinsky. And like Klaus Meine is in the Oval Office and all this stuff. It is so bizarre. And they just recently uploaded it onto their YouTube channel for the first time in like 25 years.
Yeah.
And you check it out. Like, if anyone hasn't seen it, it's so bizarre.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
All right, man. Andy, how about you, brother?
Yeah, what I've been listening to is a debut album by this band. It came out on February 23rd. And the reason why I know the date was because this is this is the first album I've ever pre-bought but before hearing it on Apple, and they're called Plantoid. It's a really good album. They are kind of a psych rock jazzy sound,
Mm.
to them. And
Who is it? Who's they called again?
Plantoid.
Oh wow.
Plantoid,
Yeah, they're called
okay.
Plantoid.
Is that new? Like a newer band?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They just-
Instrumental or?
no. They've got a female vocalist with them.
Wow. I'll have to check that out.
But the
Sounds good.
drums, the guitar are pretty damn good on here. They're called Plantoid. They are new. I went to their Facebook page. They only have like 600 followers.
Oh
I
wow.
sent them a couple messages on Messenger, trying to get them on Black Spinner since they're kind of new, up and coming.
Yeah. Hell.
But I sent them two messages and some videos, but they haven't gotten back to me. I don't know if it's a business page or what, but I'm trying to get them on. But it's Plantoid.
Well, I just looked
they
up.
are-
I just looked up what a
all
plantoid
indie.
was on Wikipedia, and it's a robot or a synthetic organism designed to look and grow like a plant.
Oh wow.
I was looking it up to see if maybe they had a page or something. Apparently
Yeah.
not.
But all of their music is available on all streams and on YouTube. So check it out. And then this got me going on to a bunch of whole different types of bands that fall in the same realm. So it's been fun kind of digging around. And I want to say hi to our good friend Jimmy Schwartz out there. Hey there, Jimmy. But yeah, Plantoid, check it out.
And as an interesting side effect, they are also a trio, a power trio.
Oh, cool.
Oh, for real? Are they? I thought there was four, but it's a trio.
Well, the picture on their Spotify is a trio, and
Okay.
they get just a shade less than 20,000 monthly listeners, so that's not a lot.
And they are out of London or England.
Okay.
Cool.
They're
Awesome.
from
Check
across
it
the
out.
road.
Absolutely.
All right.
On my to
What have you
listen
been
to.
listening to, man?
Well, I'm just gonna highlight an album that's turned 40 today, and that's the debut Run DMC.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
So I posted it up on my page, and I posted a story about like when I was a kid, and I saw the Rockbox video on MTV, and I was like, I was already at the time I was 12, so I was, just starting to get into like hard rock and metal and stuff on my own, with the help of my older brother's collection, and just started to branch out. But I remember being over a friend's house and I saw the Rockbox video, and they had the guitars, and it had a great guitar riff over a funky beat, and like these guys like in leather, man. I was like, dude, this is like the fucking coolest shit, man. Like I'm like seeing, bro, and it hooked me. It got me into hip hop, man. It got me in, and to me, like this first Run DMC album was like ground zero for like they kind of modernized hip hop, because it was hip hop before them a few years. It was Curtis Blow and Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah.
But these guys came out hard, man. It was like almost like they brought in like kind of that hardcore like feel like to them, like to hip hop, and they were just like they looked tough, and it was cool, man. They were like rock stars, man. And I've met DMC a couple of times, and he totally grew. We talked, and he totally like grew up on rock and stuff like that. So a lot of rock was like an influence on him. So he's like such a cool dude and stuff. So I just wanted to highlight today the debut of Run DMC's first album, and it's actually signed by him too. By him,
That's super cool.
So still a great killer debut, and I was almost toying because really it's kind of Run DMC and Jam Master Jay, so they really are a trio as well. But and this third album by them is a classic, man. Raising Hell.
Of course.
I mean, this is like one of those. If you're even moderately into hip hop, like it's something that should be in, a collection, So I decided not to put them in though, because they're really they don't play instruments, so I kind of defaulted out of that. Then I was like, yeah, I'll save the spot for like somebody that, because I came up with a lot of trios and.
That's super interesting. Like you just brought that up, so like I didn't include them on my list, but would the Beastie Boys be, because they do play instruments?
And that might be on the list. So
interesting.
Gotta see, man.
Right. See, I didn't even think of that. That's outside the box thinking. I like that.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about Daryl McDaniel, he was just here in Houston at the Houston Livestock Rodeo. He was a guest with with Bun B, who is from a rap band out of Port Arthur, has become a big staple in the Houston rodeo, along with 50 Cent. And lately, because there's always a big concert here for the rodeo. The last 3 weeks, every night is a different person. So he's had special guests come out, and Daryl McDaniel was one of them. So was Too Short, and Nelly, and a bunch of different rappers came out. And in fact, they were introduced by Cedric the Entertainer. And I wanted to go first, but all these were surprises. Nobody knew these people were going to be there until that night. And I was like, crap, because I wanted to go there to begin with, because I didn't go to the rodeo at all this year, because the rock band was Nickelback. Nothing wrong with Nickelback, but I've seen them enough, and I didn't want to go all the way to the other side of the town to see them.
They really are like a punching bag, man.
Oh yeah.
But they shouldn't be. They're good band.
They're okay, man. I'm not a big fan of Chad Kroger's vocals.
Yeah, that's what does it.
That's just kind of the thing with me with them. It's like I don't mind a couple of their songs though, but it just for me to go out and buy an album by them though, and it's not appealing enough to me. But my wife loves them, dude. I mean, we've seen them in concert, and they put on a great show. I'm fully admit, man, in concert, they fucking put out a killer show. Like
They definitely
stage show and everything.
They definitely take more of a beating than's deserved.
They do.
There's so many worse bands out there, dude, than them.
To me, of all those like early 2000s rock bands, they're just easily the most generic, and I think that's why they kind of get a lot of that. I mean, for our local state fair, we're getting Breaking Benjamin, and I'd much rather listen to Breaking Benjamin than Nickelback.
Oh, I'd rather listen to Nickelback.
See, me too. To me, Nickelback is generic because they became so popular. So that's kind of unfair. That's like saying Kiss is generic, which they are now, but they
no. But I mean, just like you listen to even like their hit albums. I mean, How You Remind Me and Someday and Photograph all sound like the same song.
Right. But in their time, like I remember when How You Remind Me came out, and that shit blew my mind.
I love that song, but now that
that shit's
like
impressive.
10 versions of it.
Well,
I still love How You Remind Me. All the songs they made after.
They definitely became formulaic without question. Absolutely.
I was just gonna say that they found a formula and they just kind of rolled with it,
And then of course you have bands like Seether and Chevelle and all these other bands that came along after them and kind of beat that horse to death. So then by the time you hear How You Remind Me again, you want to kill yourself. So
See, I'd actually almost rather listen to all those bands you listed than Nickelback.
I mean, Chevelle's got a few decent songs. I mean, I think it's the common theme for all four of those bands that were mentioned, that they have a few decent songs and then the rest of them sound more of the same. I swear I've seen Chevelle probably 15 or 16 times live, and they're still playing the same damn song. Like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They just never stopped. It's the same, like slow, brooding, melodic.
They did just write the Red about 50 times.
That's right. Exactly.
Of those bands, they're my least favorite.
And they literally play every festival I've ever been to. Like Chevelle,
which is funny because I've only seen them once.
I can't avoid them.
And they were opening for Breaking Benjamin.
Every time I'm at a festival, they're playing on the stage that I'm waiting at to see the next band I want to see. They're always that fucking band. Every time at like 4:00 in the afternoon. It's always
All right. On that note, let's get to the topic at hand here. Top 10 third albums by power trios. We're going to start with number 10. Chris, take it away, brother.
All right, I'm going to get this out of the way because I know someone else is going to say it. And I said this off air, but I'll say it here. I picked almost 20 albums. Okay. And the reason why is because I think a lot of us are going to pick a lot of the same things. I would be pleasantly surprised to find out that I'm false. But my first two are almost too obvious that you want to slam your head against the wall. So the first one will be Rush, Caress of Steel. And that's mostly because it's my least favorite Rush album overall, even though I love it. That's basically like saying, compare these diamonds. Which one is prettier? So Caress of Steel, but that goes to the bottom of my list because we talk Rush to death. and I don't want to go crazy on it too much, but it is out
What's
of
your number
all
10?
of the Rush albums, it's got to be the biggest outlier out of all of them, correct? Even more than the first album. There are elements from Caress of Steel that carry through on forward. Like it was definitely the groundwork for 2112 and Cygnus X1 and all that stuff. But my God, is it fucking weird? It is just so strange and bizarre. But I will say that it has had influential power, because if you're a Dream Theater fan and you listen to the song Illumination Theory, there is a clear callback to Caress of Steel on that album. So
Most definitely.
so it definitely carries, even though it's weird, and even though they will say it themselves, Geddy and Alex, what the fuck were we thinking exactly?
I think they smoked a lot of hash during that.
Yes,
one.
they definitely did.
Well, I mean, that's the album that they played for Paul Stanley, and he just looked at them and said, "What?"
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't get it.
He's like, "What?" Well, I mean, I'm not surprised that he didn't get it, but I mean,
Well, I
I
mean,
barely
they-
get it. I barely get it, and I'm a Rush
They
fan,
got
so-
they got the first two, like when they were playing with Kiss. Kiss got the first two albums, and then it was
right,
like,
right.
"What the
Because
hell?"
the
is
first
this?
two albums sounded more like Zeppelin, and then by the time they got
Correct.
to Caress of Steel, they were like, what? And then they were like, The Elder. No,
Yeah. Well, with Caress of Steel, it's like you hear Bastille Day, and you're like, "Oh, okay, we're going well." And then just from there, it's just like from there, it
It
kind of dives
descends.
off into
descends into madness. Even
into
I
the
think
madness.
even I think I'm Going Bald sounds like a regular rock song. Just lyrically,
Yeah.
it's like, what exactly is happening here?
Yeah.
But Lakeside Park, who Geddy admits is one of his least favorite songs that they've ever done, and was forced to play live against his will back in the day. So
Well, they played it on the last tour too.
They did.
So.
yeah, he does not like that
And I thought
song.
it sounded great, man. I thought it was great when they pulled that out. So
He might have liked it by the time R40 came around, but
yeah.
he did not like it in its time.
Yeah.
So
All right, so your number 10 is Caress of Steel. All right,
that's a
Joseph.
Steel Rush. Yep.
Alrighty, my number 10, coming straight from Newcastle, England, to a dump near you, Raven, All for One.
Raven.
Great album, dude.
Gallagher Brothers, Wacko Hunter on drums. Great album. I mean, that early Raven up through the live album, really just a great early era for them. So many great stuff on here that would reappear on Live at the Inferno. I mean, stuff like the title track, All for One, Run Silent, Run Deep, Hung, Drawn, and Quartered. A song called Seek and Destroy before Metallica wrote Seek and Destroy.
And they toured with them on that.
They
It
did.
was-
They did.
The Kill 'Em All for One tour.
Kill 'Em All for One tour. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's my number 10 is Raven with All for One. Killer album cover, too.
They're great,
Great
man. I
album
mean,
cover.
my friend bass player in my band, man, he was a huge Raven fan. He got me into them somewhat. So like I'll pull out some Raven albums once in a
Mhm.
while. I'll check them out. Yeah, they're good. They're underrated, man. I thought
Oh,
they're really good. So
Yeah, and I think that's probably their best studio album.
Like-
The Live at the Inferno is my favorite Raven
Yeah.
album. The album that they recorded right after this. It's a live album.
yeah,
But I think All for One's probably my favorite studio album. But like I wasn't kidding when I said Coming to a Dump Near You. They were from England, and they played like 15 minutes away from my house at a bar that I never knew existed.
oh wow,
Like,
wow.
and I live in the middle of nowhere. Like they're playing in Thomasville, Pennsylvania at this little bar
wow.
that nobody's ever heard of. And I'm like, it popped up on my Facebook. This was a couple years. I think this was even before COVID, maybe. But it popped up on my Facebook. It said Raven. I'm like, oh, is it like a cover band or something? I'm like, oh no, it's Raven. Like it's a picture of the Gallagher brothers. I'm like,
Yeah,
what? Why is Raven playing at this little bar that I've never heard of?
and when Metallica did that special show down here where they only
They
played
did.
the first songs, they had Raven open up for them, which
They
I thought
did.
that was really cool.
That's
of them
awesome.
to do.
Yeah, that was awesome. I
Yeah.
loved that they did that.
That's cool that Ralph. I know Ralph went to that show.
Yeah.
Cool.
I saw a show. I didn't go to that show because I wasn't living down here yet. But
Mhm.
you know, tickets were probably outrageous for that too. Even
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
get. But I mean,
yeah.
I saw something almost similar to that, like when Metallica did the Orion Festival, and I
Yep.
went to the night where they played the whole Ride the Lightning album.
Nice.
So I kind of got something almost on that level. The thing that Ralph didn't get, you know, on his show was that, and I got on mine, is that they played Escape.
Yeah.
Which they've only ever played once live, and that's it. Because James hates that song,
Yeah.
but they had to play it because they were playing the whole album. That's the only time that they ever played Ride the Lightning in its entirety. So I got the special show where they played Escape, which is awesome. So yeah. All right, cool, Andy, man. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I want to say welcome to Michael Lynch. It's nice to have you on here. And also, Jimmy Schwartz said the album Berlin by the band Cadaver.
Cadaver. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta check them out, man. I like stoner rock, so thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I actually have a few stoner albums on my list, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I made this list not knowing that this album was not going to be allowed, but I'm going to keep it on.
Leave it to Andy to do that. That's an Andy thing.
Oh, I didn't say it wasn't allowed. There are 3-person.
Run DMC.
Yeah.
I know.
But I'm not saying it wasn't allowed. It's just I didn't put it on because I figured
it was his personal choice.
Yeah.
It was my personal choice.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm glad you put them on because that's a great album, man.
So I'm going to start off with Run DMC, a great 3-piece band. They really were. I know that there were other bands before them in rap, but I never really paid attention to rap until these guys came around. And
Yeah.
also I was 7 when the other guys were rapping. So when this came out, I was in junior high when Run DMC Raising Hell came out. It came out with that video by Aerosmith, and then I grabbed this, and ever since then, this has been a really good album. I've also got King of Rock on a vinyl. There was a tear on the cover, so they sold it to me for 50 cents.
Oh man,
The album is just as clean as can be.
That's awesome.
Even when I took it out, you can feel the static from the paper when you took out. So
Probably barely played, probably.
Yeah, so it was awesome. So Raising Hell is my number 10.
All right, cool.
Go for it, Al.
Love that.
What are you going to start off with?
All right, well, my number 10 is an album that my older brother had in his collection. So when I was a kid, I heard this a lot, and I just loved it. It's my favorite era. It's my favorite era of Eric Clapton, and it's Cream, Wheels of Fire. And
badass song,
dude, White Room. It's got the live version of Crossroads on there. Born Under a Bad Sign.
Politician, baby.
Politician's
my favorite. That song blows
my
mind.
They played. I got to see one of the reunion shows when they played 3 shows at Madison Square Garden. I ended up going to one of them in 2005, and I'm so glad I went because I always wanted when they reunited and they were announced 3 shows. I was like, I got to go to one of them, man, at least, and because they were like one of the first rock bands I really kind of got into that my brother had in his collections. There you go, man. I love that album cover too.
Oh yeah,
and I don't have a vinyl anymore. I think my brother still has the vinyl. So yeah, look at that, man.
So psychedelic.
So psychedelic.
So great.
But to me, that's like my favorite era of Eric Clapton. There's so much fire in his playing during that era, man. And if you, I recommend if you don't think that Cream is a heavy band, I recommend a bootleg live in Detroit at the Grand Ballroom. It's on YouTube. Go there and listen to that. Dude, it's just so fucking heavy. Like it predates. It's almost like because I always considered Sabbath's first album almost kind of a heavier Cream. It's got that Cream influence on there, man. Fucking bluesy kind of still, but they were bringing that heavy metal into it, but they still had a blues kind of thing to it. I always thought like it just sounded like a heavier Cream, and they were definitely influenced by them. So
without question, absolutely.
Yeah. So Wheels of Fire by Cream is going to be my number 10.
So I already had to pick one off. So we should start keeping track. Like I know you hate the Mark when I do the Mark Taylor thing,
right?
but I think it's worth noting. I think you should make a note that if one of us says, "Oh man, I had that too," I think that's pretty cool. Like I think you can compile the list and be like, "What was the album?" I think we can all get on board with Cream, Wheels of Fire. Shit.
Yeah.
And they only had 4 albums, man. So that's like they landed in there just.
Well, and one of them was a live album.
Because actually, I looked up some power trios, and some of them only had 1 or 2 albums, and that was it. They were out.
Yeah, true. And absolutely.
I mean, because I would have fucking threw Blue Murder on there, but they only had 2 albums.
Yep, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, because after this one, it was Goodbye, and that was
Goodbye, and that was it. They were done.
Yeah.
I think 3 years. I think 3 years they were in the spotlight, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know?
they were. Man, Ginger Baker was crazy on them drums.
Oh my god.
Damn,
Oh,
It's
now-
one of my
And a
favorite
version of Toad on there too with his drum solo. He's just insane, man.
Have you ever seen there's a great documentary on Netflix called Beware Mr. Baker?
Oh, that's a great one, dude.
Hey, it's so good. The thing opens with him beating the documenter.
Yeah,
He beats him with a cane.
he broke his
The guy-
nose.
The guy's literally hiding in his car, going, "I can't go in there." Like, it's incredible. It's incredible. He was living in South Africa at the time, and like he had been banned from other countries. Banned.
Yeah,
How you banned from countries?
from a country.
Ginger Baker's
Well, apparently, if you're Ginger Baker, it
That's one of
happens
my
quite often.
Oh, it's one of my favorite documentaries of all time. It's so fucking good. It's so
He's
good.
got to move down to one of the farthest, southest countries on Earth.
Oh, he was just so high on like heroin all the damn time. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. How that guy lived as long as he did is a fucking miracle.
I found I love to go record shopping, not just buy stuff on online, because you never know what you're gonna find. And I did find one of his Air Force albums, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good
Oh.
stuff, Ginger Baker.
All right, Chris, number 9, man.
My number 9 is from probably my other favorite power trio, and I put it up early in here just in case someone else snabbed it. I didn't, but it's King's X, Faith, Hope, Love. This is probably the album that got them notoriety at first, because it had It's Love on here, which was kind of a minor radio and MTV hit.
Probably their highest charting song.
Maybe. I think, I mean, because Black Flag did really well from the next album, and Dogman did really well as well. But It's Love is the one that still gets played. Like, I still hear it on the radio on occasion. Like Hair Nation, which is so fucking bizarre that they're on Hair Nation of all things. But this album, to me, the only thing I wish they could reproduce this album in the Dogman production, though, because there was something about, as much as I love King's X, something about those first 4 albums and the super clean production. I like the back end King's X production. I don't want to say back end. It's 4 albums versus 11 with this different production, but the heavier production just suits them better, in my opinion. But with that being said, this album is just so fantastic. Like, there's not one bad moment on this entire record from the opening of what's the fucking opening song? We are finding who we are. Fine Art of Friendship. I'll Never Get Tired of You is a great ballad. Mr. Wilson is a very
Moan
weird.
Jam, bro.
Moan Jam is great. Mr. Wilson's a weird Ty Tabor tune. Even down to the one of the only times that they actually show that they really throw out some political. I mean, they talk political, but like, I find it interesting that I talk to people who are like non-Christian people, and I'm not either, and I don't want to get into a big religious thing, but they're like huge fans of like King's X, and they're like, but they will bash Christians. And I'll be like, you understand what King's X is, right? Like, you get what the King's X is, right? Like, and then there were certain songs every once in a while that they would throw in there that really kind of showed where they were coming from as a whole. And that's the last song, Legal Kill, which is obviously a pro-life song of sorts. So, but it's really beautiful, poignant acoustic ballad. And sometimes, unless they're singing Jesus in my face, I don't care what your political stance is, unless it's hateful. And that one happens not to be hateful. So, and King's X is never hateful. They're wonderful. And Faith, Hope, Love is a wonderful, wonderful album. So
I gotta check that album out, because I did buy the 5-pack. The first 5 albums.
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
on
It's
there.
the third one.
It's the third one.
Yeah. Well, yes, their third one.
Yeah.
But I'm still listening to the first 2. So
What is the 5th one, though? Is the 5th one the greatest hits?
No,
Oh,
it's
fifth
the
one's
fifth.
Dogman.
It's Dogman.
It's Dogman?
Yeah.
That's weird. So maybe that's not a record label thing, because
No.
wasn't that on a different label?
No, they were still on.
Oh, that was
Atlantic.
Atlantic.
Yeah,
It was
that was the
after
last one.
Yeah, that was the last one.
No,
Okay,
they
yeah.
were still on Atlantic with Ear Candy too.
Oh, they were.
They
Yeah.
didn't include that one in there though for some reason.
No, it's because it's those like 5 classic albums thing.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those like original
Yeah, I guess
album
that is
series
Atlantic. Jesus.
where it's 5 albums.
Or
Yeah.
Best of King's X is the one that ends the
Oh yeah,
Atlantic
it's like
run.
the
Okay.
album series.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is. Yep.
That's a nice
great
cheap,
set.
that's a nice cheap way to get like 5 albums. I think
It
it's
really
like $20
is.
or something.
I have so many of those. I have like
I-
10 or 15 different bands of those.
I'm starting to pick those up because, dude, why not?
Good stuff.
You know,
Good
you
stuff.
can-
I know you sent me that you got the Mahavishnu one as well.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I
Mm.
got that one in the car.
Are those CDs or vinyl?
Let's see.
CDs.
CDs.
Mm.
All right, Joe.
Oh,
Number 9.
Alrighty, so I'm happy that Chris mentioned that one because that one made my honorable mentions. My number 9, Jimmy James Schwartz mentioned Cadaver, a stoner rock band from Germany.
mhm.
Well, I'm going to mention a thrash band from Germany and a Teutonic, one of the big 4 of Teutonic thrash, and that is Sodom with Agent Orange.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sodom.
That's a great album, dude.
I'm like racking my brain trying to figure out who he's talking about. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I knew right away, dude. As soon as he said German, yeah.
Yep, Agent Orange. It's kind of a bit of an album about the Vietnam War. I mean, they're excuse me. Angel Ripper was really fascinated with the Vietnam War, and so he wrote a lot of the songs on this album about that, around the concept of Vietnam. Of course, the album's called Agent Orange. But there's some really, really heavy stuff on this album, especially to be coming from a 3-piece. It's just it's insane, some of this stuff coming out of this band, knowing that they're a 3-piece. And I think they and Creator are probably tied for my favorite of the German Big 4. But for albums like this, you can definitely see why. So my number 9 is Sodom, Agent Orange from 1989.
Great one, man. All right, Andy, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, they were just here a couple of days ago. I'm not really that much into them, but they were playing a festival called what was it called? Hell something.
Hellfest?
Heroes. Hell's Heroes.
I was gonna say, what is he in France? He's not in France.
No.
Oh, Hellfest is France?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, it's called Hell's Heroes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because Queensryche was the headliner,
Oh wow.
and they played they played their EP and Warning.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, that's what they're doing, which I don't particularly care for, but you know.
But
Yeah.
I didn't go because I'm really not into that. But you know, I do like the rhythm sometimes. But I didn't go. So we're at what, number 9?
Yes.
Number 9.
Oh yeah, my number 9 is by a power trio from the early '70s, heavy rock, hard rock, led by the one and only Leslie West, Mountain, with Nantucket Sleigh Ride.
This is a little. No, that's fine, man. Like,
Thank you.
see, no, I'm just because when you actually look at the Mountain discography, the first Mountain album is Leslie West Mountain.
West Mountain, right?
Yeah, which they say it's a solo album, but you can really kind of count Mountain because he really let's face it, you know, you can really count Mountain from there. However, I think that's a 4-piece on there, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was that I didn't even know there were 3
They had a
pieces.
keyboard player too.
Was this a 4-piece of this one?
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah. I think the first Mountain album was the only one where they're a 3-piece. And then the next couple albums, they're a 4-piece. And then they go back to a 3-piece again. But listen, man, it's just a keyboard player. Who cares?
Oh,
Because I actually was gonna put a Mountain album on here, Flowers of Evil, which is kind of, as the Mountain name, is their third album. But I left it off because it's four guys in there, so I was like, nah, I threw it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I counted Leslie West's. You know what? You're right. Keyboards by Steve Knight.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, son of a gun.
That's all right.
No, it's okay. I can replace it with something else.
Great album, though.
This is great. I mean, Nantucket Sleigh Ride's a classic, dude. You
Yeah.
know,
dude, Mountain, you can't
I
go
got to
wrong.
meet Leslie West a couple of times, and you know, he was awesome, man. He really cool guy, and you know, it's a shame he's gone now, but he had a lot of health problems, man.
Yeah.
The last time I saw him was he played a double bill. It was him. It was just billed as Leslie West, though. It wasn't Mountain, but he already had to play in a chair because, you know, part of his leg got amputated because of diabetes. but he played a double bill with Uli John Roth, man, and that was killer. I really want to see Uli John Roth, man. Really,
He just announced a tour, I think.
yeah.
I
So.
was gonna do this as one of my honorable mentions, but I will go ahead and put it at number 9 since they were not a part of Show Triumphs. Just a Game.
Oh wow, there you go, man.
I'll put this one up because this one almost cracked my top 10, but I enjoyed the Mountain more, probably because of the keyboards.
It just added that little extra something. I don't know. Maybe it was a fourth member.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the fourth guy.
Yeah.
So, Triumph, Just a Game, will be my number 9.
Actually, Andy, you can keep holding that up because that's my number 9 as well.
Okay.
It's got the classic laid out on there.
Yeah.
Hold On, which is a great song too, great ballad. American Girls, Just a Game. Yeah, that's a great album. I love Triumph, man, and I had to put them on here. Their third album is Just a Game, which there's a funny story about that. When you open up that album, I think it's actual board game, but it's like it's meant to never be won. You can't win. It's Mike Levine from Triumph designed it, and it's something that you can never win. So
yeah, mine's not a gatefold.
Oh, it's not okay.
It's not
I think I think the gatefold.
I think the original pressing was gatefold.
It's a board game, yeah. So, but yeah, that's my number 9 as well. I'm just gonna be Triumph Just a Game. So we'll go to number 8, Chris.
My number 8. We were talking about stoner rock, and stoner metal. I actually got to hang out with this band, meet them, talk to them before I even really knew who they were.
Wow.
It's High on Fire, and it's their third album, which is entitled Blessed Black Wings. And I happen to enjoy, it's funny with the stoner rock. It's not like I don't even love, I generally dislike the vocals usually. Definitely, obviously, stoner rock and stoner metal is very Sabbath based without question. So the riffage is always just phenomenal on all of this stuff. And there are so many great stoner rock, stoner metal bands out there. But I got to High on Fire opened for Meshuggah at I was DJ. I was like the house DJ for a place called the Rock Bar in San Jose, California. And Kirk Hammett was doing his Halloween festival thing where he brings all his his vast collection of horror memorabilia, and everyone and their mother was at this thing. So I'm backstage hanging out with Jens from Meshuggah, and Kirk Hammett's over there, and Charlie Benanti's just chilling out. And then there are these guys, this I don't want to insult anybody, but he's big bellied dude not wearing a shirt. It's the guy from High on Fire. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, we're the opening band. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, all right, cool. And then they went out and they fucking slayed, dude. I was like, these guys fucking rule. And then all of a sudden I started getting into High on Fire. So yeah, High on Fire, man. I can't go in too much about the album. I just like the band a lot. The album's great. All their albums are great. The one thing about stoner metal and stoner rock, I will say, maybe it's insulting, but a lot of it starts to sound the same after a while. So it's part of the reason why it's not one of my favorite genres, but I fucking love it though. Every time it comes on, I'm like, oh, this is great riffage all the time. So that's my number 3, High on Fire.
Number 8, actually. Yeah, cool.
Sorry, number 8. I'm stuck on 3. Sorry.
High on Fire, man. All right, man. Joseph, go ahead, brother. Number 8.
Hey, Andy, can you do me a favor and hold that Triumph album up again?
I wanted to avoid this.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
I wasn't even going to pull it out.
There we go. All right. Yep. My number 8, Triumph, Just a Game. Lay It on the Line was one of the first Triumph songs I ever heard. Classic Rock Radio still plays that song all the time. Amazing song.
Yeah.
Just a great album. That and Allied Forces kind of go back and forth for me. It's those two albums really for me for Triumph.
Classic, yeah.
Great album.
Yeah, I still kick myself to this day for not seeing them live. I had a chance to, and I didn't, man. Back in 86 or 87. on the Sport of Kings tour, and I think Ingve was opening up for them. I think it was Ingve and Loudness, and yeah. So a couple of my friends went. I fucking didn't go, and I regret it to this day. And you know,
I mean, that would have been around what, the trilogy era for Ingve?
Yeah, trilogy, yeah. So, yeah, man, kind of wish I did, but and I remember, I think right around, and it got shot down because of COVID. Rick Emmett was going to play somewhere in New York City, and I was going to go see him, and then COVID fucked that up. And I think he retired from touring.
Yeah.
I don't even think he tours anymore now. So,
which is a shame because he is one of the most underrated musicians
Oh,
from,
yeah.
that scene.
if you like jazzy stuff, man, let's check out some of his like Andy, man. If you like jazzy stuff, check out some of his solo stuff, man.
Yeah.
Because he really it's very different than Triumph, man.
Then I gotta check that out then, because I'm really getting so.
Although
into that. It's crazy.
Although the last studio album he put out, he didn't reunite with Triumph on like 2 songs, I think, on there, and he had the whole band on 2 songs in his album, so it was kind of a sort of semi-reunion. And I think Alex Lifeson was on that album as well.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, the last album that he put out, I can't remember the name of it now, but
well, I'll check him out then.
yeah, just check out his discography and check him out.
All right, I sure will.
Cool.
My number 8, and a shout out to Jimmy again, From the Ages by Earthless, which is a psychedelic trio from San Diego.
All right, cool, Jimmy. I'll have to check him out, man.
Definitely. My uncle has been begging me for years to listen to this band, and I said, no.
Jimmy Swartz is on me.
Yeah, he's on.
No, he's on me right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, really? Ever since I started to dig into their music, I really like it. Their third album, Closer to Home by Grand Funk.
Great album, man.
This album is just fantastic. It ends with a beautiful I'm Your Captain, which is a great song. But they also have Mean Mistreater. Sin's a Good Man's Brother is also a really good opener. They are such an underrated band because their hits are ridiculous hits, like We're an American Band and The Locomotion.
Man, when you go deep into them, though, their fucking some of their stuff is pretty heavy, dude.
Oh yeah, they're very good hard rock band.
Hell yeah.
The lyrics are very, very insightful.
I think great.
And they just don't get enough love that they should.
There's a song on Survival. They did a cover of "Give Me Shelter" on Survival, which is so fucking great.
Yeah,
it's so good. And then my favorite album by them is "Good Singing, Good Playing." I got into that a little heavy because Zappa produced it, and I was like, "Well, I gotta hear what this sounds like." And I was like, "Wow, this is like." And then I went backwards. Like I know Grand Funk, obviously, but like I never really deep dived them until then, like maybe 10 years ago. And yeah, they're amazing, great band.
Yeah. I bought their album Phoenix, which was maybe their early, probably like their 5th or 6th album. And after I got Phoenix, that's when I went, wow, it finally clicked. It just clicked on me. The 3-piece, of course, they will move to become a 4-piece when they add a keyboard player, but it wasn't the same after they added that 4th player.
Yeah,
so those 3 were just a good hard rock band out of Flint, Michigan. A shout out to Flint because I got a lot of family out there.
These 2 characters behind me.
Yeah.
All right, man. So my number. So you good, Andy?
Oh yeah, I'm great.
All right. So my number 8. I'm going to that weird band, bro. Les Claypool and Primus.
Oh yeah.
Pork Soda, man.
Pork Soda? No.
Yes, it is.
No.
I don't count the live album, man.
Why? That's their first album.
I don't count it though.
You can't just make up the rules.
It's my show, and I'm making
it is your show. Man. That's a good point. That's a good point. It's your show.
Third studio album is Pork Soda. All right, you want me to go to Sailing the Seas of Cheese?
No, you can do yours. Do yours. All That's fine. Because you know what? I'll keep mine. There you go.
You do both of them then. But I'm going third studio album. Their first album is a live album. It's not. I don't consider that. I don't know. It's not the debut like studio album. So. And I'm going to bring something up later in the show that's kind of like you can put an asterisk next to it.
Okay.
But yeah, Pork Soda, man. I mean, DMV, My Name Is Mud.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's so funky and so fucking just outrageous. I love it because
Dude.
I'm a huge Zappa fan, and like they channel Zappa definitely, like in the quirkiness and all that.
And you're a
shit,
huge
man,
Rush
you know?
fan, and they channel Rush too.
They
believe
channel
it or
them
not.
too, yeah, you know. And
That's because Primus sucks.
yeah, that's it, man. And I saw them do the Farewell to Kings tour, which was cool, you know.
That must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool, man. Even though, you know, I mean, I went in there knowing that like Les is not gonna sound like Getty.
No, he's not.
You know, you got to go in there with that mindset and be fine. Because I saw people, obviously, they got to argue on it. They got to argue on the internet. Oh, it's fucking vocals. You know, I mean, well, it's not fucking Geddy Lee, dude.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, he's not horrible, and you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
with Les.
So,
I mean, come
but
on.
instrumentally, man, they were fucking spot
you
on.
can't
Dude.
touch-
They were killers. So,
You can't touch that band. Like
Yeah.
you can't.
so Primus Pork Soda. That's gonna be my number 8. What
That's
are
why I
number
always say
7?
I always forget his name, but that's why I always say that the drummer for Primus, and I always forget his name. And
Tim
it's just-
Alexander.
yeah, that just shows you how underrated he is. That I always forget his fucking name, and he's incredible. Like
He's Herb.
he's
Herb.
yeah, he's off the fucking chart. Incredible. Like that guy blows my mind. And yet I never remember his name ever. And I think I've done it that way on purpose to keep him underrated. So there you go.
All right, man. Number 7. Number 7. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, my number 7. It's funny because I didn't mean to interrupt you, Andy, before, but when Jimmy Swartz popped up and was talking about psychedelic, my next one is a psychedelic band out of Story City, Iowa, of all places, called Radio Moscow. They are a modern band. They've been around since like 2003, so they're a 2000s band, but they like specialize in psychedelic rock and psych rock. This album is called, it's a very long name, The Great Escape of Leslie Magnafuzz. That's what it's called.
Wow.
And they're just wonderful guitarists. The guy's name's Parker Griggs. And it's funny because I you might want to put an asterisk next to this one because technically this is a duo. It's just a drummer and the guitarist, and the guitarist recorded everything. And the reason why is because the end of the tour for the album cycle before this, him and his other band member got into a fist fight on stage in the middle of their set, which created obviously a rift in the band. The bassist like quit on the spot and left. Like that was just it. So
What's the name of the band, Chris?
the band is Radio Moscow, and the album is called "The Great Escape of Leslie."
So they were a
Magnafuzz.
trio and then became a duo, or what happened?
No,
there?
yeah, they're a trio technically. Like they're listed as a trio. They have 1 million members. Apparently, this guy is not easy to get along with. That's all I can come up with. I don't know a ton about them. I've stumbled onto them over the past like maybe several months. It's one of those things that was like I was listening to something and it shows up in your things you may like in
Right.
Spotify, and I was like,
Yeah.
Radio Moscow, this sounds cool. And I listened to it. I was like, wow, this is dope. And I've been listening to them kind of nonstop for I don't know, several months now. So
Cool, I'll check it out.
yeah, please do.
Awesome.
All right, man. Joe, 7.
All right. So my
Jimmy
number
Swartz.
7 is Jimmy's such a cool dude.
Wait,
I mean,
He said he saw them
he got
open
to see
for
Primus
Rush.
open for Rush on the Counterpart tour.
I don't remember that on the Counterparts tour.
I saw them open for Rush and
Presto.
Roll the Bones tour.
Was it
No,
Roll the
Roll the
Bones or
Bones.
Presto? Oh no, Presto was Mr. Big. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw the same show, Roll the Bones. Yeah, and that was mind blowing. Anyway, sorry. Continue. I apologize.
Alrighty, so my number 7 is a very generic response to this topic, but it's still a great album, and that is Green Day, Dookie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic for a reason.
That's
It's
what I like.
so
about
hard. It's hard to classify their discography and where their official first album is, and so
Well,
it's
they had
generally accepted that
Yeah,
this
they
is
had
their
the two
third
independent
album.
albums before them, but it's fine.
Yeah,
That's really
Yeah.
their third album.
It is their third album.
yeah. I mean, this is the one most people heard first. This is what
Right.
most people like never heard of Green Day until this album came out.
I saw them on that tour.
Nice.
It's one of the biggest albums of all time. There's nothing
It-
generic about it.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the best.
Yeah, but I mean, like when you think of like 3-piece band, their third album, it's also probably either their biggest or second biggest album.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, that's a great album. But I always counted that as their third because Sloppy something is their first.
Kerplunk and
It's 39
Kerplunk
Smooth
is
is the
their second.
debut.
Kerplunk.
Yeah, 39
Kerplunk's
Smooth is the
fantastic.
debut, and then
Oh, God,
Kerplunk.
Kerplunk's so good.
yeah.
I love Kerplunk. It's a good album.
All right, cool. Andy, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. This band is not Green Day, but they followed in the footsteps of Green Day. This is their third album that I was introduced to. It came out in '97, but I moved to Houston in 1999, and I moved in with my uncle until I got my feet under me. And he has a great. Well, his son's my cousin, and he was 16 at the time. And since then, we've gone to so many shows together. But he introduced me to Blink-182, and he introduced me to this album, Dude Ranch.
Dude, Ranch.
Such a good album. Side 2 is just killer. It's on Translucent Orange. But Blink-182, yeah, they've gotten whatever they are now. But this one, and then Enema of the State, and then their self-titled Blink-182 album was so good. After that, they fell off for me. But dude,
They definitely made the pop punk genre, real popular, man.
Yeah,
I think Green Day kind of kicked off that whole thing, and then they kind of Blink-182 kind of picked up the torch and ran with it. I think when Green Day got political, that's when Blink-182 kind of took the reins, for that kind of silly but they have some serious songs too, though. I know that.
Yeah, well, their self-titled album Blink, which is just Blink-182, which was two or three after this one, is a very serious album. Well, not very serious, but for them, and their songwriting got a lot better. And in fact, Robert Smith from The Cure does a lead vocal on that as well.
I fully admit, though, that I'm not really a Blink-182 fan at all. I don't have anything by them or nothing. But I mean, listen, man, I mean, they're popular as hell, and they've shown that they've had longevity because they're still around.
I wouldn't touch what they're doing now.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's just something that has passed me, and it's not good anymore. When they came up with this last album, because Tom DeLonge came back.
Yeah,
they were talking about how great it was, and I hate when bands do that. Oh, we're gonna go back to the old ways, and it was nothing close to it.
Yeah.
All right, but that's my number 7.
All right, man. My number 7. Let's kick this up a notch here, man. Let's get heavier again. Going with my man Lemmy, man, Motorhead and Bomber, dude. Ooh. Dead Men Tell No Tales. Bomber, Stone Dead Forever. Come on, man. Sweet Revenge, Sharpshooter. I mean, just such a killer album, man. This is when really Motorhead started hitting their stride now. Like, first album, first 2. And then now with Bomber, man, they're really they're really kicking ass, man. So just fucking Lemmy rules, dude. Actually, the album should be a little higher on my list, but there's so many great ones that I got on my list.
I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I mean, how good does an album have to be considered a step back from Overkill?
Yeah, true. Yeah. Oh yeah, because the second one was Overkill. That's a better album. Yeah, that is a better album. So really, kind of for me, saying they're hitting their stride now. Overkill really, it was when Motorhead fucking.
And they both came out in the same year. I mean,
imagine they put 3 albums out that year.
Well, No Parole was recorded like 3 years earlier.
It doesn't matter. It's still crazy.
And it was it was also it was released by another record company to try to capitalize on Overkill and Bomber.
Right.
The first album, right?
It was a different version of the first album.
Yeah,
without
re-released, right?
Yes, without Fast Eddie and Filthy.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because it wasn't. Yeah, they weren't in there yet. It wasn't like the classic lineup yet.
No, it was they recorded the first album without them, and then they re-recorded it with them and released it as the first album.
Okay, yeah.
But then whatever record company it was that they recorded it for originally, once Overkill came out and kind of got pretty big,
Yeah.
that record company said, "Oh, we have all those same songs you released last year, but with a different lineup, but Lemmy's still on it. So here's a Motorhead album."
Yeah.
Even though they recorded it like in 1976, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's my number 7, Motorhead. So we'll go to number 6, Chris.
Hold on, I'm adjusting. I'm on the fly here. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I think I'm just gonna. I just want to double check something because I feel like I got this one wrong. I'm not changing. Why did that just happen? Okay.
Seriously, Redbeard. Let's go.
I know, man.
I'm
We were on a good thing
good
here.
roll.
And then all of a sudden, so yeah, okay. So I guess technically, it's I had 2 in a row that were like technically 3 pieces, but not exactly. I'm gonna go with James Gang Thirds. That's gonna be my next one.
Okay.
Is it trio?
Yeah. Yeah, but they have a million guest musicians, and that's why I was confused. So,
No, but the core, yeah, it's really it's they're a trio, man.
well, because I was so just to give you a little insight, I actually had the Bee Gees first album. It's called Bee Gees First.
Mhm.
But it was a weird technicality because the first 2 were released in Australia only. So it was like their first like international release.
They were also a 5-piece at the time.
the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
Well, they're labeled as a 3-piece, but
They weren't a
But-
3-piece till the 70s.
are you sure? See, that's what I mean.
They had,
The
they
weird
had, they had,
technicality.
they had other band members on their
Okay.
60s albums. Yeah. Because
Fair
I was
enough.
I was thinking of the same thing. I'm like, where would I classify them
Right.
if I added them on? Where would you say like, because then they became a 2-piece for a while because I think either Robin or Maurice left for a little bit in the early 70s.
Right.
And then they were, of course, the famous 3-piece later in the 70s.
Right.
But-
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even with that, they didn't play like everything. You know what I mean? They were mostly
Mhm.
just, so that's why it's a weird one. But anyway,
Yeah.
the album Thirds, of course, the massive hit on here is Walk Away. Everybody knows that damn song. But
Great song.
Great
yeah,
song.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Joe Walsh, in my opinion. Here, I mean, Joe Walsh is, like what is it that Dennis Leary said? Hey, what's his?
Oh, he was like, what did he say? He said,
I'm forgetting his name. I'm saying, oh, hey, Don Henley, I got 2 words for you.
I got 2
Joe
words for you.
fucking Walsh.
Joe Walsh.
I got 2 words for you, Joe fucking Walsh. Yes. So yeah, James Gang is awesome. Thirds is a great album. Like I said, the song everybody knows is Walk Away, but like the whole album is just a jam. James Gang is one of those bands you can just throw on and have a good time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Some of it's deep, but for the most part, it's just fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It is.
good.
I like James Gang too.
Fun rock. So
They've got a really good heavy rock sound to them.
yeah, good good funk to it and everything. And yeah, they're good. They're just an all around great band. So
And it's so
Cool.
odd that when Joe Walsh went solo, he kind of took a step back on his solo albums. That was more of a poppy sound.
yes, absolutely.
With his guitar, even though but seriously, is a great album.
Mm-hmm.
But it's produced great. It's beautifully written. The songs are great, but if you're looking for the guitar hero, you're not going to find it on that album.
No, absolutely. No,
But-
more of the James Gang stuff. If you want to go see
Yeah.
Joe Walsh at his best,
Yeah,
probably
There.
James Gang.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All right. So my number 6 is a band that there is no disputing that they were a 3-piece. 2 guys with beards and a guy named Beard. In the
Yeah.
fine Texas tradition. ZZ Top, Tres Hombres.
Fucking great
That
album,
one
man.
too. Yeah.
I mean, this might be my favorite ZZ Top album. I mean, Waiting for the Bus, Jesus Just Left Chicago, Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, of course,
Mm.
LaGrange.
Yeah.
I mean, what an album this is.
The
That
best song
early,
about a whorehouse anywhere.
exactly. I mean, what a run of albums they had in their early part of their career. Of course, everyone knows, a lot of people know them when they got poppy in the 80s, and there's
Yeah.
some good stuff on there,
Yeah.
but none of it touches that early run up to the first couple albums. First album, Rio Grande Mud, Tres Hombres, Fandango, that early stuff is just untouchable. Such a great band, and definitely a great album, Tres Hombres from ZZ Top.
Yeah, nice.
Oh yeah, dude. All right, cool. Andy, go ahead.
I think this is their third album. I tried to do a little bit of research, and I think this is their third album. And I'm going to go with Nirvana's In Utero.
It is their third
It
album.
is
is,
their
yep.
third album. Yep.
They had like a compilation
Oh, yeah,
thing,
like
but
Incesticide or something like that.
Incesticide, but it was really
Incesticide, yeah.
it's not counted as a studio album. So
Right, because it was compilation. So I'm going to
Yeah.
go with In Utero. In fact, I like this one better than Nevermind.
Me too.
Ooh.
And so does-
Nevermind starts to bog down in the second side. This all the way through is just great stuff.
And Kurt Cobain agrees with you.
Yeah. Everybody talks about Nirvana's, live in New York. It's good, but it's not better from the Muddy Banks of the Whisker. This is a live album by Nirvana.
Dude, that
It's just
well, yeah, Electric.
fucking
Yeah.
the,
off the wall.
the fucking
They're live
rawness.
at Reading. The live at Reading that they put out is also
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, that one too. But
The
this one,
raw-
live at the Whisker, also
Well,
very good.
And like the rawness on that fucking album is just like I can't even like, and it's funny because it just goes to show you, in my opinion anyway, and I know I get pushed back on this a lot. A lot of your older type of guys, Mark, they have a problem with Nirvana because
I don't know why.
I know why, because because I hated Nirvana when they first came out. I remember when they first came out, I was a big hair metal guy, and that's where the line of delineation was drawn. And then what wound up happening is that I reached a certain age, and I went, heavier shit is better. I should not have turned my back on this. And that's when In Utero came out, and I was like, damn. I was like, what is this? And that the song on there that gets me every damn time. I'll break shit. I'm not joking. Like I'm trying. What's the name of the song though? Oh fuck. It might be Milk It. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Either that or Very Ape, one or the other. Those two songs every damn time. Like it's just so heavy, so raw, so like it's just awesome. I love that album. That's a great pick, Andy. Good job.
And
wasn't
really, I've got
thinking
nothing against Nevermind. I love Nevermind, but this was just a completely different animal to it. It really was.
Well, I mean, if you ask Mark, it's no Bullet Boys.
Well, and like Kurt Cobain, he really didn't like Nevermind. Like he hated the production.
I think he in an interview one time I heard him call it. It sounds like a Motley Crue album.
Yeah,
like
it was too polished.
The production of it.
Yeah.
It. So.
Yeah.
The production by Butch Vig, and this one was produced by
Scott Litt.
Steve Albini.
Steve
I think-
Albini. There
I
is
think
a
it was-
Scott Litt mix though. I think of that album.
I think it
isn't
was
there?
produced by the cats that are laying on Al's bed because it seemed like they just recorded
that
and went,
raw.
no.
Well, that's what it says. If you look at the back of the CD, it doesn't say produced; it says recorded by Steve
Right.
Albini.
Right.
I think that was a Steve Albini thing though. I think that was kind of his thing. If you look at any that Steve Albini quote unquote produced, I think it always says recorded by. I think he doesn't consider it producing. He just wants to capture the band.
The rawness.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
he
I love.
certainly did that.
I mean, I'm sure any Cheap Trick fan has got the bootleg of him doing In Color, re-recorded In Color. I love that version of the album too. It's so cool. Andy, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but
No.
yeah,
And Coda, but I didn't know that they redid it with Steve.
they redid it with Steve Albini because
It's
they did a single. They did like a 2-sided single with him,
Yeah.
and then they had time in the studio, so they ended up re-recording In Color. They were going to put it out, and they didn't put it out.
Oh, wow.
I think Rick Nielsen says it's kind of unfinished, but I mean, it sounds pretty finished to me. Like I don't know what else they really were going to do with it. It sounds much more their vision of how they wanted to sound. Because Tom Worman, kind of tamed them a little bit on an album for got them on the radio. But man, go on YouTube or something, pull it up, man. Steve Albini In Color, and listen to it, man. It's pretty fucking cool, dude.
That's awesome.
I got a bootleg CD of it.
Cool. But this In Utero is just raw.
Yeah.
Raw. It's
Yeah.
great. But nothing to take away from a Nevermind. Nevermind is a landmark album, an album that should be praised for all that it did. I mean, it changed the whole generation. It did.
Yeah.
That's what Nevermind did.
Of course. Yeah. All right, man. So my number 6, I'm going with "Check Your Head" by the Beastie Boys. So this is now Beastie Boys. They started off as a hardcore band, so they do play their own instruments. That's why I'm kind of including them on here because they were a band too. You know, they did play instruments on their, and on this album they played instruments and you know, went all different styles. Like they did like jazzy stuff, they did punk, hardcore, and hip hop. I mean, they mixed it up, and it's a great album. I mean, I remember playing the hell out of this album in 1992. You know, it's one of my favorite Beastie Boys albums. It doesn't edge out Paul's Boutique for me, but it is my second favorite Beastie Boys album, and I love it, man. I mean, they kill it on here, man.
And that was Check Your Head, right?
Check Your Head, yeah.
Oh, Beastie Boys, I missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Lynch says, Albini never used the term producer for himself, so
Wrong.
did
I hold in my hand the single.
Shit. Does it say produced by Steve
It says
Albini?
produced by Steve Albini.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's the
Michael Lynch.
The baby talking Brontosaurus single.
Baby Talking Brontosaurus. Yeah, I got that same one, man. I bought that self-titled album and had that, as the. It's hard to get that now, man.
I found this at my local record store like a month ago, and it had it with it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, wow.
It was rubber banded together.
Yeah, that's a good find, man.
It's like, okay, I will.
I actually have that a 45 of that too.
Oh wow!
Like my friend gave me the vinyl of that single. There's a vinyl version of that. So
It's worth mentioning. It's worth mentioning also that Michael Lynch agreed with Joseph, though, that
Yes,
ZZ Top is a killer 3-piece band.
yes,
no, Michael Lynch.
Thought that was worth
Michael
mentioning.
Lynch. I wanted to prove him wrong there for a second. But yeah, I always kind of find it funny that that with that album they released a single produced by a completely different producer.
yeah, because
Then
the album
who-
itself isn't produced by him.
No, it's
I think Taylor.
Ian Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I love that, dude. I love that album so much, though.
amazing album.
To
Amazing.
me, that's like after their first 4 albums. I think that album comes in 5th for me. If I was going to rank
I
them.
mean,
Beastie Boys?
what a dual
no,
comeback.
the Cheap Trick one there.
I was going to say.
What a dual comeback, though. I mean,
Let's see
these
what you're
two
looking at.
albums
Yeah.
really brought them back.
Yeah. The Beastie Boys album I'm talking about, Check Your Head. For me, Paul's Boutique is my favorite Beastie Boys album, but Check Your Head is like right behind that, man. Yeah, so
I hate to say it because it's so popular, but like Ill Communication is just such a fucking banger of an album to me.
Ill
it's got
Communication is
such-
great too.
It's got
I always
such the
thought-
perfect. It's got such the perfect mix of all the hip hop they did and the rock and the instrumentation and like it's such a great album. Not putting down anything else. Just saying that's my favorite personally.
I always considered Ill Communication kind of like and Check Your Head kind of like brother albums, brother and sister.
I
They're
can buy
kind of
that.
like almost the same format,
Sure.
like if you kind of look at them track by track, it's almost kind of like they kind of went with that formula again. But fucking dude, Ill Communication's amazing too.
Yeah,
That whole-
I hate when my
whole
favorite album. I hate when my favorite album of a band is like amongst the most popular. I hate that, but that's the fact.
Well, my favorite's like now it's considered a hip hop classic, but Paul's Boutique was just panned when it first came out.
Absolutely destroyed.
Bomb,
I remember. Awful.
But now it's like a fucking hip hop classic.
Oh, I love it.
It's definitely one of those albums that time has been kind to it. So I think it's just because they did such a complete 180 from License to Ill. People thought they were going to come out with License to Ill Part 2, and they just completely did a 180. Like, we're not doing that, because if they did that, they would have committed career suicide. I think they would have.
That's also a phenomenal documentary. If you haven't seen the Beastie
Oh,
Boys story,
I was there.
on Apple Plus.
I was there. One of the live tapings of that.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it was such a creative and fun way to do like a biography. It was really cool.
Yeah. All right, man. So let's move on. So we're at number 5 now.
Yeah.
Number 5. So I'm going way off. I'm going to Scotland on this one. It's a trio that is labeled everything from alt rock to experimental rock to post hardcore to prog rock, even, especially on this album. The album's called Infinity Land, and it's by a band called Biffy Clyro out of Scotland.
I heard of them, man. I never heard that. Yeah.
Very, very, very good. This particular album, their first two albums kind of had more of an alt rock feel to it, more fun, more upbeat. This album definitely got a little darker for them. And yeah, they started toying with like time signatures. I think this is where if you see them labeled as a prog rock band, this would be the album that kind of started that trajectory. But yeah, they're really cool. They're just again, I don't want to say fun, but like, because this album isn't particularly fun, but they're on the lighter side of experimental and progressive music, I would say. Hello.
What is their name
here?
Biffy, 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 Clyro.
Clyro. You know what? I got an album by them.
Clyro. Yeah, they're pretty badass. Infinity Land, third album. Great shit.
Let me see which one I have. I was going to look up the album covers.
Does it have?
I bought a CD of theirs and I really enjoyed it, but I haven't gone back to. It's no, it's not that one.
Does it have a gas mask on the cover?
A Puzzle's the one that I got from 2004.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
2004.
They're a good band. I would check them out. I would highly recommend them if you're looking for something different. Out of Scotland, bunch of prog rockers.
I gotta revisit that. Thanks a lot for helping me bring that out. And in fact, I told I'll keep the faith because of last week's talk.
There you go. Look at you. I like that, man. Good for you, man. I hope you listen to it.
All right, Joseph.
All right. Well, we're going to stick in the prog rock realm, but we're going to move down the island a little bit, down a little closer to London. For funnily enough, the 11th album from this band, but their third as a trio.
Interesting.
See, that's the one I was going to put the asterisk next, but I'm allowing this because I was thinking of the same thing.
Yeah. They're a trio this is their third album as a trio.
Yes.
See, I was going to do that too, but
we'll put an asterisk next to it.
I just love Genesis too much. I had to talk about them.
I'm gonna allow it, because I thought of the same thing. I was thinking of Genesis, and I was like, well, and then there were three. Mm-hmm. That was the first time it became a trio, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. And then the Abacab. And Abacab, I love. That's really kind of where I discovered Genesis when I was a kid, seeing those videos on MTV. So yeah, go ahead, Joseph.
Well, and I mean, they really were a true trio because even though they had Chester Thompson and Daryl Sturmer live, three of them did all of the studio work. Yeah,
I'd buy that. That's fine.
Yeah,
touring band is a different story.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I think this is a kind of an underrated Genesis album. This is one you don't really hear people talk about that much. I don't think.
I love that,
even though there's some hits on this. I mean, the title track you still hear on the radio quite a bit. Yep. No Reply at All.
I absolutely love No Reply at All.
Dodo Lurker is a really great track on this. I love that song. Keep It Dark, Man on the Corner, Me and Sarah Jane. Some really good stuff. It tails off towards the end. Whodunit's not great. Another Record's okay. Like It or Not's okay. But there's some really, really great stuff on this. And this is kind of where it kind of starts to...
Man on the Corner was a top 40 hit.
I love Man on the Corner, man.
Great track.
Lyrics on that are so fucking they hit.
Yeah. And Abacab is fantastic on 3 Sides.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Love
that video. I always think of the video, just them in a room just jamming, man.
Yep.
It's fucking cool, man.
All right, Joseph.
Yes.
I have to ask you, though, since you brought up Genesis.
Yes.
Gabriel or Collins era?
Hackett era.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy. I am that guy.
That's fair. I guess I can buy that. That's fine.
Because my love for Genesis really spanned my 3 favorite albums are Foxtrot, Selling England, Trick of the Tail. So I mean, it covers the Hackett era for me. That's where I love stuff before. I love Trespass. I'm not a fan of the first album, but I love Trespass, and then I love clearly a lot of the stuff after Hackett.
Yeah, I mean, Duke is my favorite album, but
that's my favorite post Hackett album. Duke's probably Duke would either be number 4, probably my.
That's the second trio album.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I love that
Yeah.
album so much.
Love that.
I started a fight once and then walked away because it was hilarious. But I was at a I was at a prog rock festival called Rozfest, and it
Mhm.
was in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And these
When
I
did
don't
that
know.
happen? I live in Gettysburg. When did that happen?
The one I attended was in 2013. It hasn't been back here. It hasn't been back in Pennsylvania
Yeah.
since 2016. I think it moved to Florida. But they used to do it every year. It's called the Rite of Spring Festival, and it was in a theater
Okay.
in Gettysburg. And this one particular year, they kind of broke tradition because usually they went like staunchy, dodgy, like not dodgy, staunchy, like curmudgeon-y
Mhm.
prog rock, and all the Genesis heads were there. Okay, and I have
Of
to
course.
say, Genesis fans, they rival Tool and Rick and
They
Morty
do.
fans when it
Oh,
comes to
they
being
do.
dicks.
They
The only
do.
difference is though is that you can actually have a conversation with a Genesis fan.
Yeah.
For about 20 minutes before you want to rip their head off and go, what the
Correct.
fuck, dude? Like, are you kidding me? So, and of course, they completely forsake the Phil Collins era. Like
Correct.
it doesn't exist. Like
Mhm.
it was like, well, that's not real Genesis. And so I was just like, well, I don't know about all you motherfuckers, but I prefer Collins over. And then I walked away.
See,
and
my,
they're
my,
all
my
like,
only
"Rrr."
Duke would be higher on my album list of Genesis if they had done the right thing and kept the Duke Suite on one side of the album
Fair enough.
and
I could
not
buy
broken
that.
it up. If you would have had the Duke Suite on one side and then Misunderstanding, Man on Our Times, Cul-de-sac, all that on side two, I think it'd be one of their best albums.
That's my only. I say the same thing about it. There were other bands that I do like Dream Theater with Systematic Chaos. If they would have put In the Presence of Enemies together as
Yeah.
opposed to break it up, that would be my favorite album.
Mhm.
Like that would be my favorite album. But instead, they broke it up. So
Yeah.
Well, I will say this: if Patrick Bateman was at that festival, he would have killed all them guys. Because Duke is his favorite album. So
You just hear In Too Deep playing in the background.
yeah.
oh, it's so fucking good. Hey,
See, now
Todd!
I got to look up
Hey!
who all was. Now I got to look up who all played at these festivals that apparently happened less than 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah, so the one that I went to was amazing because, and it's the reason why I went to it, because two of the bands playing there were friends of mine. So I tagged along with one of them from California. It was a band called Motar, which is incredible. Absolutely. If you're into like off the walls, like prog rock, but with a banger female singer, like an amazing singer. Like Maria Dickinson might be one of the best singers I've ever heard. Like she's incredible. Motar, awesome. Also called, they went on to be called Raise the Maze later on too. Pain of Salvation was there. Shadow Gallery, Electric Asturias, Riverside, Flower Kings. It was crazy. It was 3 days,
Wow.
and it was awesome. It was just awesome.
Cool.
Great festival, and they did it every year. Now I think they do it in Florida, but they haven't had a good lineup in God knows how long. I don't know what happened.
I had no clue anything like that happened around here. That's cool.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was good times. I was living in California at the time, and I came here for that and hung
Nice.
around Gettysburg and spent 3, maybe 4 very drunk days in Gettysburg.
Lot of places to drink in Gettysburg.
Those Swedish people, they can drink. Let me tell you. Jonas Reingold put me under the table. It was bad.
Oh damn, I love him. He's a great guy.
He's awesome. Him and Hasse Froberg were fucking incredible. Hung out with them the whole weekend, so it was very cool. Good times. Anyway, sorry.
All right, moving along.
I just made this a 3-hour show. There you go. Enjoy.
That's all right. So I don't know which one I like more, Phil or Peter, because I do like both eras. I think I would favor more the Phil era, but I am going to go see Hackett in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
So
Steve
I'm
Hackett's
excited
solo
for
stuff
that.
is great.
I'm jealous of you, Andy, because he just added some new songs to the set list from his new album that just came out.
Yeah, and in fact, he kicks it off. Like his first 3 or 4 tracks are off his new album that was just released, I believe, in January.
Yeah,
Released
last
album?
month it just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Circus and the Night Whale.
Exactly. So I've heard a little bit of that to see what I'm going to be expecting, and it was very impressive.
He just played down here in Florida too, and I missed him. I couldn't go, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
it's-
see him, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a great time,
Yeah,
Andy. It's amazing.
My number 5 is the first album that I bought that's a picture vinyl, picture on the vinyl, and it was my last because it sounds like shit.
Well, yeah, picture discs sound like shit.
I never knew that because I bought this like when they first started coming out. But it's my number 5. I loved it on CD, and then when I found it on vinyl, I was like, "Oh, cool!" And it's got the picture on it, and I play it, and it's crap. But but
Sublime.
Yeah,
Wow, I didn't think of them as a trio. That's interesting.
they are a trio.
No, it just hit me now. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that just never hit me.
And then
This is something I thought of.
there's the other side. But when I first heard this, it was just so good. It had so much different elements to it. It had punk, it had rock, it had reggae, it had rap. It was so much fun to listen to. It's a really nice listen, but not on picture vinyl. Go get the CD. That was a lot better. I got that in my CD case over there, but I wanted to pull that one out.
I had a
Yeah,
fascinating
number 5.
I had a fascinating thing happen to me over the spring last year that was facilitated by Sublime live on stage. I just saw them last year at Sonic Temple Festival, and I was with my now 21-year-old son, but he was 20 at the time, and he had never really heard Sublime, even though I listened to Sublime. But like for whatever reason, out of all the millions of things I listened to, that was one of the things that just fell through the cracks, I guess, that he never picked up on. And he watched them, and it was at a festival. So there was like 70,000 people there. So thousands upon thousands of people are going apeshit over Sublime, just having the best time, because all those songs, if you're like over the age of 30, are huge hits. Every song on that album, if you're over the age of 30 and you listen to the radio, right? People are going crazy, jumping around, having a great time. He was flabbergasted because to him, he never heard of this band. He had no idea. He's like, what is this? It was a weird moment of like generational definition that I've never seen before, right? Because like he saw Kiss with me the night before, and when he loved it, and he knows Kiss because they're one of my favorite bands. But like Sublime is somewhere in the middle. Like they're not a legendary band, but they're like super popular, but they're kind of legendary because their singer died, and like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a weird spot. They're not inherently legendary. So I just thought it was super cool to see like that generational thing happen like right before my eyes. And he's like, dude, why are so many people going crazy? And they know every word. Like everybody knows every
this album was
word.
huge.
People are going off on date rape. He's like, people are saying words fast. Like it's not even like they're just picking it up as they go.
Yeah, so that was off their second album. No,
but still, yeah. But I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, you know, people know all these songs, and he's like, how does a song like Date Rape become so popular when it's so fucking inappropriate now? That was the other thing. Being a kid of this generation, like date rape isn't something you joke about anymore. No. Like that's not a thing.
Yeah.
No, but how were they with Rome? Because I just refused to go see them with Rome.
They were okay. I mean, you know,
I saw them with Rome like 2 summers ago. It was all right.
You go for the vibe. You go for the vibe and the music. It's, you know, it's not about the performance. I
heard like they're doing a farewell thing with him now. I think that Bradley's son's supposed to take over.
Oh,
that's
really?
Interesting.
Yeah, so like they're doing a final thing with Rome. He's gonna leave, and I think Brad's son is gonna take over now. I don't know how
that's the baby that was in the insert of the album.
I guess
probably.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He also did a acoustic album that was really good called Brad Knows Solo.
Yeah.
Which was released after he passed away. Interesting. Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now that I'll go see his son do it. But for some reason with Rome, I just refuse.
All right, man. So my number 5, we're going with the Police and Yana Mandata.
Yeah.
One of my favorite albums, man. I love the Police growing up as a kid. I always heard them on the radio, got all their albums. There you go. Love that album. Don't Stand So Close to Me. One of my favorite songs, Driven to Tears.
Driven to Tears is awesome.
Yeah, When the World is Running Down, you know, Do. Canary in the Coal Mine, you know, Behind My Camel, which is an instrumental that actually won over YYZ and won a Grammy, which is
That's
like,
crazy.
I don't know how to.
And apparently Sting hated it.
Yeah.
He didn't. I think he buried the master tape outside of the studio,
Oh,
and the
shit.
producer went out in the middle of the night and dug it up
Wow.
and included it on the album anyway, and then it won a Grammy.
Yeah.
I feel like Bombs the way out for that.
Yeah, man. I love that album, man.
Yeah,
Great album.
that's a good
I mean, to me, the Police didn't stick around long enough to make a shitty album anyway. All their albums are great. So, but that's their third one, man. So I'm going with Zenyatta Mandata. So that's my number 5. Number 4, Chris, go ahead.
Number 4 is the band that we spoke about earlier in their actual third album, Sailing the Seas of Cheese. Primus sucks. I have to, I'm gonna stick on this because the only reason why I would have to consider their live album a true first album is because it's the first time you're hearing all their music. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I look at it. And also, there are other bands like the
It's
MC.
weird, like when a band releases a live album as the first album. I think Jane's Addiction did the same thing.
Jane's Addiction, MC5, like
Yeah.
a lot of Dave Matthews Band. Technically, their first album was a live album. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not normal, and I understand where you were going with there. So that's why I can accept the ask.
All right, for me, it's third studio album. For you, it's the true
Well,
third album.
It's your show. It's your show. I don't give a shit.
Hey, listen, man.
We get to talk about.
Sailing Seas of Cheese is a fucking classic too.
Oh
so
God, yes, they all are, and we get to talk about Primus more. Like, so why is that a problem?
That's 2 albums y'all got to talk about.
Yeah, never a problem there. You finally got to hear Tommy the Cat the way it was supposed to be done, and because that's the other thing. Like, Tommy the Cat on Suck on This is probably my least favorite song on there, and it's one of my favorite songs on Sailing the Seas of Cheese. So there you go, John and Tom Waits doing vocals on Tommy the Cat. So yeah,
I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, like during COVID or whatever. You know, you sat around home listening to music most of the time, couldn't really do anything. Although I did still get to go out and work, which was like a blessing. But in my line of work, I was still able to work. I wasn't shut down. And the traffic, there was no traffic, so I got to work in like fucking half the time. But like, you know, listening to music at home, I pulled up the Jerry Was a Race Car Driver video, and I showed my daughter, and she's like, "What is this?" Like, she just this is like so weird.
Did you look at her and just tell her Primus sucks?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually cultivating a list for the channel. I'm doing a video, top 5 bands that have no business being as famous as they are. And Primus is like top of that fucking list. Like, how the fuck? Like, I understand the 90s was weird. But like, I can pinpoint like Tool. I understand their aggression, their melodies, the videos that they put out. Yeah. Rage Against the Machine had the hip hop element that probably grabbed a lot of attention, plus their aggression. The fuck? How did Primus? Like, how did they? Who's listening to this? And like, this is like late night stoner shit. And they're so. And what's so funny about Primus to me is that you listen to like Jerry Was a Race Car Driver or My Name Is Mud. To me, it is so like pinnacle 90s. It is so emblematic of what the 90s was. Fucked up, dark in a very hilarious way. Like, that's exactly what the 90s were. Yeah, so there you go.
You were able to go in so many different avenues, and nobody cared. Nobody labeled you. You just went wherever you wanted to go. You were able to choose different areas you wanted to go to personally.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Most creative decade of music. I'm sorry. I know the 60s gets a lot of love, and they should, because a lot of things happen in the 60s. But when you can take so much establishment, because there's so much established by 1990, and then take it in like 95 different directions off the establishment, that's hella creative. That is a whole new level of creative. I can't even...
The 90s beat the hell out of the 80s when it came to music. I'm sorry. I don't know why people are so up on the 80s. To me,
I love both.
90s.
I love both decades.
I think the 70s kills both of them, but
yeah.
Okay, well, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. from quality versus creativity. There are two different things going on here. Like
Yeah,
quality
I
wise,
understand what you're saying. Yeah,
it is hard to top the 60s and 70s when it comes to quality because not only were they creative, but they did the best of the best. Like they
and they
laid
were
the
also putting
groundwork.
albums out like every 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. But like the 90s, like was just, and the 80s were very creative too. Don't get me wrong. But again, I don't know. Like if I take like Art of Noise and Madonna and Prince and like Herbie Hancock, like I'm just trying to grab things from 4 different corners,
Right.
and just be like, and then add in the metal, like the Iron Maidens and it's all very creative, but they all have a similar sound to them though. They all have that 80s thing where the 90s, everything has a different sound. You had Korn and Rage Against the Machine and gangster rap started like being a really big thing and took on a different form altogether. And which changed pop music because then pop music started integrating some rap elements and hip hop. It was crazy, man. The 90s are out of
Even
control.
metal-
Strong in the
even-
90s too.
But even metal was great in the 90s too. Like it went a little bit more underground, but you had your industrial metal, you had your fucking stoner metal, you had your fucking
Well,
you had like the blue, you had kind of a bluesy rock kind of
Well, you had-
revival.
yeah,
Like
you had
kinda-
prog rock, you had prog metal,
Prog metal came
like
in
like
big.
exploded.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you have bands like Nevermore that would like start to influence like what would come in the 2000s with like
Jeff Loomis.
early kind of
Black metal
like
became
black
big.
metal, like
I mean, that was underground, but it really germinated in the 90s then. And
death metal exploded.
Death
in the
metal.
90s.
Death metal, which became metalcore. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy. It's metalcore was born in the 90s, and new metal was born in the 90s, and rap metal, and funk metal. I mean, the whole Pantera thing, like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The 90s. We should
Yeah,
do a whole show on the 90s. How about that?
all right, we're gonna go number 4, man. So go ahead, Chris.
Oh, it's my turn. No, I already did that. Sailing the Seas
Yeah,
of
Oh,
Cheese.
I'm
Primus.
sorry, Joseph.
Primus sucks.
Motorhead, Bomber.
Bomber.
This is the one that I mentioned in our group chat earlier. For some reason, I was convinced that Ace of Spades was their 3rd album, and I was gonna die on that hill.
Oh, okay.
And that I literally put it. I was making my list, and Ace of Spades was my number 1, and I'm like, wait, hold on, that's not their 3rd album. And so here we are at number 4 with Bomber. Not quite as good as Ace of Spades, but still a fantastic album. I mean, like all the songs you said, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yeah.
Sweet Revenge is a really underrated track on this one. I mean, Sharpshooter, Stone Dead Forever, the title track. Just so many great songs. And I love this current reissue campaign that they're doing for like the 5th time of these like hardback book kind of releases for the CDs, and each one of them comes with a full never before released live show from that era. Right now I think they're up through Another Perfect Day. So they're kind of slowly working their way through.
Some nice reissues, man.
Yeah.
Another Perfect Day is like a borderline prog metal album.
It is, and I love it. I love it.
It's crazy.
Such an underrated album. I mean, the only album with that lineup with Robbo.
Yeah.
And what a just out of left field album where they took a kind of a step back with Iron Fist, where the formula was getting a little stale, and then Fast Eddie leaves. They bring Robbo in, fresh off Thin Lizzy, and like this weird album comes out of it, and it's an amazing album.
Agreed. Completely agreed.
All right, cool, man. Andy, man.
Yeah, my number 4. I'm just gonna say this real quick before we move on. What's the name of that album by a Motorhead with a Robbo on it?
Another Perfect Day.
Perfect Day.
Okay, because I'm not that much versed into Motorhead, but what I do hear, I do like.
It's got a different cover. It's got a weird looking cover too.
Oh, I love it.
Cool
One
artwork.
of my favorite cover artwork from them.
Yeah.
Where's that?
I'll check that out. My number 4 is the great Jimi Hendrix. This album is pretty weird, man, for Jimi. There's a lot of great music on here. Here's the back of it. Their 3rd album being the Jimi Hendrix Experience, the Electric Ladyland.
Yeah.
Really good stuff on here, and his guitar playing and everything that you see. That's one thing about Jimi, and we talk about Jimi Hendrix a lot on here. I know, but he's not just a great guitar player. He's everything. He's a total package. He's a great singer. He's a great lyricist. He's got his hands in everything.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about Jimmy, and that just gets overlooked. That he
True artist,
a
man.
package.
He's a true artist, man.
Or
Yeah.
From what I understand, he's a pretty like fucking dope human being too. Like
Yeah.
he
I've
was just
always
a
heard
cool
that about
guy.
him.
Just
You know,
just a
really
chill
laid back.
dude.
Yeah. So that's my number 4.
Who was very humble. He never really
Mhm.
thought of himself like, as this sort of like genius guy, but he just was, dude,
And I know that they, say, oh well, he overdosed this and that, but I really truly think that it was an accident. It should not have happened that
Yeah.
passed that way.
Yeah.
And man, imagine what he would have done in the 70s, because even the music that was being released without the family's permission is good.
Yeah.
Imagine if he would have had his hands on that, and what he would have done to clean things up and all that. Which is amazing stuff that he could have done.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder though, like someone like Hendrix? We were talking about Kurt Cobain earlier. Like these artists that die young.
Mhm.
Do you really think like we want to think the best, like their talent was going to carry through, or they were
Right.
going to but I don't know. I feel like they burn so hot like a sun or like a star that they would have eventually either burnt out and just went away, like not died, but just went away,
Right.
or I don't know, their stuff would have become rote.
They would
and,
have turned mediocre.
yeah.
I think Kurt Cobain definitely would have burned out. I don't think Hendrix would have.
I'm not sure.
I think there was so much stuff. I mean, right when he died was when so much of that was really coming in. I mean, Zeppelin was just really getting big, and I mean,
Yeah.
what I would have given knowing about Hendrix's relationship with Zappa and how
That's a good
they were
point.
friends.
Yeah.
If that ever could have become a
Man, that would've been
musical
great.
partnership,
Yeah.
even though there was such a big like personal difference between them, like the personality wise, and Hendrix couldn't read music, and that was something that Zappa was very like staunch about.
Yeah.
But I mean, just imagine even like one of these like posthumous Zappa releases of them
Yeah.
just jamming together.
Sure.
And I mean, just so much. I think Hendrix still had so much to give as far as musically and thinking about what came out in his wake and how he could have been a part of that scene.
Sure.
I
sure.
cannot picture Kurt Cobain being a part of the late 90s. I really can't.
No, especially after it got like played out, like after
Yeah.
and they started pointing at him and his band as the start of this mediocrity that
Yeah.
came later on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Hendrix would
Yeah,
have.
because in Nirvana's wake, man, I mean, the record labels just started just fucking signing like everybody, man.
Well,
Like,
they get the hair metal treatment.
Yeah.
yeah, same thing, man. It was the same damn thing
Yeah.
that happened to that scene. And it happened in half.
If you wear jeans and flannel, we'll sign you.
Yeah, and it happened in half the time. It became, for something that was supposed to be anti-image, it became such a fucking image.
Yeah.
And
And I hate to say it because I actually don't hate this band, but like I'll always point to Silverchair as like that was the end. Like that was it. For me, it was like when you started putting teenagers out there to do this shit that was supposed to be angsty and angry. It was like when Kiss went Dynasty, like Paul Stanley's like, why are there little kids here?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Same type of shit. Like this was supposed to be dangerous and something different. Our leader killed himself. Okay. Why are there children playing this music?
Yeah. And then like 2 or 3 short years later, everything changed in the mid 90s. Everything changed. Everything got watered down. Just like Al and I, we've been wanting to do a show about the 10-year itch, about bands lose their creativity after 10 years. It happens to everybody. It happens to every band. Yes, they're still around, but their creativity is long gone. They're
formulaic.
Like everybody has a window. Almost name any band, and we can pinpoint what 10 years.
You still got to do that show, man.
Yeah, I know.
I will give you one great example of a band that does not have that.
And I would say, who is that?
Motorhead.
I was gonna say,
They
I
were
think
solid, man, throughout like their whole career.
Some of my favorite Motorhead albums are that run from the early 2000s.
I mean, I think Rush fits that bill too.
Rush does as well.
I think Rush has the perfect career, in my opinion. I just, Motorhead has had some misses. Of course, I'm an avid Rush fan. So I'm an avid Rush fan. So you could tell me all day, like, well, this album, I'm like, yeah, no, you're high. But
I would say Rush and Motorhead both have albums that I prefer less, but I wouldn't say I hate any of the albums from either of those bands.
Sure, think about that.
All right. So where are we at?
We're at
Of course, and of course, Nickelback.
Of course.
All right. Moving on.
Number 4.
Number 4, I'm going ZZ Top, Tres Hombres.
Tres Hombres.
Yeah, dude, Joseph touched on that. I just saw ZZ Top recently. It was the first time I've seen him after Dusty's passing. I thought Elwood was cool. I mean, he fits the thing. It was just kind of weird to seeing him without Dusty, though, because for 50 years they were the fucking same lineup, So, but it was still cool to see them. And when they went into Jesus Left Chicago, I love that stuff, man. When they play anything over Tres Hombres, they didn't do Beer Drinkers and Hellraiser though, but and they didn't do did they do like they did like Range. They kind of stayed away from the Dusty sang songs, or they didn't do Tush, which is weird. But I saw them at a festival here that they have every year in Florida, the Strawberry Festival, and from what I've been hearing from like the locals, they try to keep the sets at about an hour, so that's probably why they didn't play they probably cut out a couple songs. I think their set ended up being like an hour and 5 minutes or something like that. So I could kind of see why they probably, and I don't know if they're purposely staying away from maybe the Dusty songs because he's not around anymore, but but they have so many great songs they could play anyway. So that's my number 4. Moving on, ZZ Top, Tres Hombres. So number 3, Chris.
Was it the last show that we did, the producer show?
Yeah.
No, that's not the last one.
That was a couple shows ago.
No, the last one I did. Anyway.
The last
I'm
one,
going to say.
I was on the last one you did, I think, Chris.
Which was what? What did we do? Love songs? Was that the love song one?
Yeah, but that was on the PS session.
No.
Oh, yeah, that was a different show. Yeah, I think we did producers. Yeah, we did producers here. That's what we did. Anyway, I get to bring up Terry Date for the second time, and I get to talk about this album 2 times in a row. Prong, Cleansing, 1994. Absolutely bombastic, badass, one of the most underrated albums of the 90s. Probably the only Prong album I like as a whole. They just did a cover of a Rush song, which I didn't really care much for either.
That's actually not their third album, though.
How do you figure?
Prove You Wrong. Prove You Wrong is their third one.
Prove You Wrong is their second album. Is
no,
it
it's
not?
I'm just stating it, man.
I told you about the autism, Al. I can't be wrong. That's not going to work for me. Force Fed, that album.
Prove You Wrong is the third one, man.
There's no way that's a real
I have a long
album.
list where I wrote trios in their third albums, and Prove You Wrong is on that list. So.
Force Fed is so bad that I forgot it existed. Jesus Christ.
And Prove You Wrong is when I saw them live when they opened up for Ozzy and a No More Tears tour.
Yeah, Prove You Wrong's a decent album. I'm not that's not the problem. The problem is Cleansing is so much better that it should be the third and fourth albums. That's how we're gonna put
It's
this.
not, so let's move on.
Okay, so then let me give you my number 2 then, and I'll replace my number 2. My number 2 is the Winery Dogs 3, their third album. Richie Kotzen, Billy Sheehan, Mike Portnoy.
Yeah.
Just decent, solid rock music. It's to me, it sounds like a Richie Kotzen solo album, but that's always kind of how it goes with me. Because Richie Kotzen has such a unique sound. That's his. No matter what band he's in, it sounds like a Richie Kotzen album. Like it's so weird how that guy can't conform to anybody, and that's fine. I guess he's made a career out of it.
It's hard to believe that man was ever in Poison.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm getting at. I'm surprised Winery Dogs lasted 3 albums because every band he's in seems to fall apart. So
who's in Mr. Big too, right?
Yeah, it's like the calling card for the death of a band.
Yeah, you bring in Richie Kotzen, and then he fucks your girl, and then he fucks your girlfriend.
I was gonna say Richie Kotzen's the equivalent of getting pregnant to save the marriage. Okay.
Yes.
He's got a lot of great solo stuff too that I like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's an
yeah.
awesome musician. That's why it's so
Yeah.
weird. Like
Smith
I was
Kotzon's a great album.
Oh yeah, dude.
if I was gonna replace Chris Cornell in Soundgarden, it would either be Miles Kennedy or Richie fucking Kotzen.
No, I'd have to
the
be
guy,
Richie Dawson.
the guy's incredible. So yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that'll be my number 3 then. Okay, you take your asterisks and your
Yeah.
stick it in your ass. There you go.
There you go.
Winery
All right.
Dogs 3 done.
My number 3 will be quick. Da do 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 da 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 is all I have to say to you. And we move on.
Yeah. My number 3 has already been talked about. These guys did not play rock or blues. They played Texas, plain and simple.
Yeah.
They're just a Texas band. Tres Hombres. Absolutely love this album. There's the insert of it, which is a Tex-Mex dinner. Beautiful stuff. Tres Hombres. I've seen ZZ Top so many times, but I haven't seen them without Dusty, and I don't think I will. I'll probably skip them. Growing up, ZZ Top was just in my blood. I mean, ever since I was young,
Of course, man.
that was one of the first bands that I remember knowing. So ZZ Top, my number 3.
All right, man. My number 3's been talked about before already. Chris brought him up. King's X, Faith, Hope, Love. What can I say? One of my favorite bands of all time. I love. You were talking about production. Yeah, I love the production of Dog Man. When who came in and produced that one?
I don't know. You know producers better than me. I don't. We'll find
Brendan
out here.
O'Brien. Brendan O'Brien.
Oh.
Right. Awesome producer, but I do love the Sam Taylor produced first 4 albums, man. To me, like that, the King's X sound is like that, like Ty's guitar, like that tone that he has, man, is just fucking incredible, dude. And I don't know, Moan Jam. Don't listen to that song while you're driving because you will get a fucking speeding ticket. I'm telling you, man. And I think if they play that song now, I think Jerry Gaskell will get another heart attack.
One of the would it be the 5th or 6th?
Because the drumming on that is just like insane, dude. Like the constant like speed that he's like playing, you know, like it's insane. I mean, one of the most talented 3-piece, man. And like, you know, I always fucking bring it up. It's like if you open up the dictionary and look up underrated, I mean, their picture should be under there. You know,
synonymous. Absolutely.
You know, so love them, and I wish they would fucking come tour down here in Florida. They don't come to near it. They always play up in that area, Pennsylvania.
Unless
Jersey.
you like the new album, you're not going to be very pleased.
Well, I don't care, dude. I go to see them anyway. You know,
They
if they're
play
one of those
mostly the
bands.
new album, which I respect. They do the Rush thing. They're doing like 8 songs from the new album, and
Yeah,
that's fine. But I happen to dislike. It's the first King's X album I disliked. So
when it's good, we call it the Rush thing. When it's bad, we call it the Iron Maiden thing.
we call it the Book of Souls.
all right. So that's my number 3. King's X, Faith, Hope, love that album. They could do no wrong for me. Those first fucking like, you know, yeah, you're right. The whole well, you know, Mr. Bulbous was very.
Dude,
Was that the one? What was the
Watch
one?
Your Mouth. It's like my favorite album.
What was the one they really got experimental? Was it that one or Manic?
Oh no, Manic Moonlight is the one
Okay.
you're thinking of. I
Okay.
mean, Mr.
And
Bulbous
it's not
is a
bad
little.
album. It's good.
No, Mr. Bulbous is a little out there too, but Manic Moonlight was the one where they got very into the electronic stuff. They started doing
Doing
a
some
bunch of
drum
wacky.
loops and
Yeah,
things like
yeah,
that.
yeah. But the
yeah.
song Jenna is out of fucking control. I
Yeah.
fucking love that song. I can't
Yeah.
like. But yeah, I agree. They're
There's some
the
great stuff
majority
on
of the even like Black Like Sunday, which is like a bunch of retreads, is a phenomenal album. I
Yeah.
love that album.
All right, so that's my 3rd. We'll go to number 2. Go ahead, Chris.
Number 2, we were talking about stoner metal and stoner rock earlier, and this is like an OG stoner rock band, Sleep, with Jerusalem and Dope Smoker, which are 2 separate versions of their 3rd album. So I don't think there's not much of a difference between the 2 albums per se. I think it was just released under 2 different labels. I don't know the background story on this one. I just know the music, and the music is just it's grungy, it's stoner.
I think it's a different label thing.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened because it
Well,
was The album's
Yeah,
been re-released like 7 times. Like it's been re-released like multiple times. 2012, 1999. The lengths are all different. So yeah, I just think they just relabeled them. But anyway,
that Sleep album's awesome, dude.
yeah, it's a good one. And just to harken back to my original, I think the guitarist on High on Fire also plays in Sleep. So I'm almost 100% sure of that. Again, I don't know my ins and outs of the stoner guys. I just know how badass the songs are and the music is. So
Yeah, dude, that album, man. If you really want, it's like one of those just kind of. If you just want to like just sit back and just kind of zone out, dude, it's like that's the fucking like you put that on. It's I don't know, man. Just the guitar, the tone, the riffs, kind of just could put you in a trance almost, dude.
very drone. It's a lot of drone in there. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, so good pick, man. All right, Joseph, number 2.
All right, my number 2, aside from chocolate and watches, the best thing to come out of Switzerland, in my opinion, Coroner, No More Color.
Oh yeah,
Foreigner.
dude.
Wow.
Yes.
Ooh, what an album.
I like that Joseph's picking like some of these because that was on my long list as well.
Yeah, I mean, Coroner I think is one of the most underrated thrash bands. I mean, just amazing stuff. Some of this album, Die by My Hand, Mistress of Deception, Tunnel of Pain, just some great stuff on this album. And I love their album artwork. I mean, this one and then Mental Vortex afterwards. It's Anthony Perkins from Psycho on the cover. Just some great covers for some great thrash albums, and they're a really underrated band. If you don't know Coroner, definitely check them out. Really underrated 3-piece out of Switzerland.
Awesome, man. Real quick, going back to the King's X thing, I forgot to hold this up. Faithful signed by all 3 of them there.
Oh wow!
So it's kind of cool. And I wanted to show this off because this is a very hard album to get, and I got my hands on it. Pre-King's X sneak preview. I found it on vinyl.
Wow.
What is that?
Sneak preview. It was King's X before they were King's X.
Wow.
This is like a holy grail.
Are there any like any of the
band
songs on
themselves,
there?
the band themselves, I think, destroyed like 90% of the stock of this album. So whatever 10% got out, it's worth a lot of money. And this is sealed too.
Wow,
I
dude.
paid $150 for this, dude.
Shoot, you're crazy. What's on there though?
And look,
I don't even know what's on there.
Look
at them.
Look at them. On
Look
the
at them. They're so cute.
It's like I don't even want to open it, to be honest with you.
No,
dude.
please don't. What songs are on there?
There's
Vinyl collectors. Let me tell you, vinyl collectors across the world will cry once you crack that seal.
all right, I'll go down the track list real quick. Media Man, You're the Only One, Hang On, Together, The Door, which I think they reworked on. I think they put.
Well, You're the Only One is also on Black Like Sunday.
You're the only one.
The
Okay.
only one I can do this to me.
Hang On, Together, The Door, Linda, Inside Outside, Full Scale, When You Smile, Where's Everybody Going? So that's
Dude, is this on like? I wonder if this is on YouTube. I gotta fucking.
it's on YouTube, dude. Look it up.
Yeah, I got it. I didn't even know that existed. That's crazy because they're one of my favorite bands. How did I miss that? You know, you got blind spots sometimes. That's like one of those things.
Yeah, just type in King's X sneak preview because that was the name of them before, and this came out I think in '85.
Yeah, shit.
And they hated so much, I think they destroyed most of them. But I've seen that album. I saw that album in a store going for $500, bro.
That's crazy, dude.
I would never pay that much, and even 150 was pushing it for me. But I was like, it's sealed. Yeah, dude,
brother. Knowing that you can listen to that online, I would just hold that as my insurance policy.
Yeah.
Oh shit, the car blew up and I have no money. I'm gonna sell this now.
All right, Andy, go ahead, man. I want to hold up. So number 2.
Yeah, my number 2 was touched upon a lot earlier in the show by Chris, and it's my number 2. Caress of Steel.
Yeah.
By
right, bitch.
That's right, bitch.
I mean, I'm not the Rush fan like you guys, but I always prefer their 70s stuff. And to me, this is one of my favorites by them.
That's how it starts.
I absolutely love Lakeside Park. That's one of my favorite songs. That's what got me deeper into Rush because that was like the first song I heard that wasn't played on the radio. There were some friends of mine back in Corpus that we would hang out, and they were a couple years older than me, and they were Rush fans. And I remember when I moved, I gave them my copy of Farewell to Kings on vinyl because I knew that I was going to find it eventually again. Which I did.
Yeah.
So,
That was a single though, even though it didn't get played.
yeah. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was one of the singles from the album. It just never
Nothing
saw-
on that album got played.
Yeah, it never saw American airplay at all.
Yeah.
But I love the way it starts with Bastille Day. You know, I think I'm Going Bald is not that bad of a song. You know,
I love that song.
The lyrics are a little weird, but this is an Alex Lifeson album. He is so good on this album.
Oh God, yeah.
You know the story behind I Think I'm Going Bald?
No, I don't.
Hold on, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
They were making fun of Kiss. It was based off the
Going
song
Blind.
Going Blind. It was based off the
Really?
song Going Blind off Hotter Than Hell.
Yeah.
And they wrote it in the hotel room while Neil wrote the lyrics in a hotel room while they were touring with Kiss. So they thought the song Going Blind, it's not making fun of it. They actually like the song.
Yeah.
So they wrote lyrics based on that. So
Okay. And Side 2 is a definitely precursor to what 2012, what 2112 is going to be.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
easily,
Mhm.
because Side 2 and Side 1 are completely different from each other.
I have a very-
that is going to be my number 2.
I have a very
Easily.
strong Rush admission to make. For many, many years, I used to pose and say that Hemispheres was my favorite long form Rush song. But upon further review and listening to all the epic songs in a row, 2112 buries every fucking
It
like
does.
epic length Rush song there is.
does.
And anybody who tells you otherwise is lying. Like that song is perfection. Okay. There's just no way around it. Like it's just not to say that Hemispheres is bad, but I just wanted to say this for the
Who
world.
can say
to
the
hear.
hemisphere is bad?
Mm.
No, I'm just saying.
I'd even put book 1 above book 2.
I don't know about that, but but I would say that 2112 buries just about any long form fucking prog rock song I've ever heard. I just wanted to put it out there. I felt compelled. The spirit moved me. The spirit of radio. I felt like putting my hands up to Neil.
For me, it's 2112, it's Supper's Ready, and it's Gates of Delirium from Yes.
Mm.
Those are my 3.
I like Close to the Edge personally, but
That's
again,
up there as well.
I can't fucking I can't. I can't. Anyway,
All right. my
moving
number
on.
two-
Sorry, I just took this opportunity to make an admission. I don't make very many Rush proclamations because I can't. It's one of those. They're the only band that I can't be like, this is my favorite song. This is my favorite band. This was my favorite show. I can't. I've come out with 3 Rush proclamations in my life, and that was the newest one. So there you go.
So yeah, my number 2, my man Andy, bro. Fucking call me the weird one.
Boom.
Call me the weird one, man. But like, I love this album so much. There's only one album on this list that I gotta put above this one, and when we get to it, I'll talk about it. But dude, for me, it's all about the Necromancer on here, dude. That
Great
fucking
track.
song is like, you want to have your head blown away, dude. Just put that in the middle of the night in the dark on headphones and just listen to that production, the way they fucking phase shit around your head, dude. It's incredible, dude. And just the story on that, just like the whole story of it, the Necromancer and everything, like just you could picture like the story in your mind like as a movie, like these 3 guys walking through like a misty forest, and like you just it's fucking awesome. It paints a picture in your head, so I wish like they would like when they did like the reissues, they would have did like their original idea, like to make the cover like chrome, like kind of go back and redo it.
Maybe they
But-
will.
You
You never know.
never know, man.
You may get the Caress of Steel box set someday.
That's
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
You notice that?
That's never
you,
gonna happen.
notice they skipped the first 3 albums.
yes. For good
Well,
reason.
there was it was just the album though. It was nothing extra in it. But there was a box set of the first album.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of some extras in there, like trinkets and shit like that. But I do have it. But that's my number 2. So now we're down to number 1, Andy.
Down to number 1.
All right, man. Chris, go ahead, man.
I was gonna change my number 1 because it was already spoken about, but I decided against that only because how can you deny Jimi Hendrix Electric Ladyland? And the reason why first off, the reason why Rush was at the bottom of my list is because I knew at least one of you were going to mention it. So I wanted to get it out of the way. That would be my number 2 in reality, Rush, Crest of Steel. But my number 1 is got to be Hendrix Electric Ladyland, because All Along the Watchtower has been one of my very favorite songs by him since I was a child. So it's literally other than Rush music, it's literally the only song that no matter what, if it comes on, I'm fucking cranking it. No matter what happens, and it puts me in a space that immediately makes me happy. Like it's just an awesome song. His vocal performance, I mean, on the whole album, but specifically that song, his vocal, his guitar performance, it's all time. It's everything that I love about rock music. And that's it, man. Electric Ladyland.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good pick.
Fucking great pick, dude. Go ahead, man. Joe.
All right. So here's where I disappoint Chris and put on my Prague snob douchebag glasses.
Oh, no.
And discuss the 3 most important letters of the alphabet.
Oh, if it's ELP, I'm going to kill myself. Oh, fuck off. Yeah. Oh, it's the lowest
Emerson,
base,
Lake and Palmer trilogy.
the lowest base form of prog rock.
Are you serious? You hate them?
I do not like ELP.
I remember we've talked about this on a show before. I remember
I've
you
tried-
saying how much you hate ELP.
I've tried. It's not a hatred thing. It's just, to me, they're just generic Yes and or Genesis. Like it's just not.
See, I think they're a whole different thing altogether.
I think they're completely different.
Yeah.
I think they're.
But this is the second ELP album I ever heard. My dad is a huge fan of Brain Salad Surgery. I've been into that album since I was very young. So that might also have something to do with why I'm such a big ELP fan, because I was from a very young age. I was very aware of.
They're
Brain
good,
Salad
man.
Surgery.
I understand the merits of them. I don't shit on people who like, it's just not for me. I guess maybe my brain, there's not enough room in my brain for more prog rock. I have King Crimson Rush. Yeah, King Crimson Rush, Zappa, Yes, and Genesis clouding up everything. So,
and that's a lot of clouds. But yeah, no, this is an amazing album for me. Endless Enigma from the beginning became a pretty big hit for them. I know Dawkins did a cover, which is kind of weird. But the Sheriff, Hoedown is a really great instrumental on here. The title track trilogy, Abaddon's Bolero, and really cool thing about this, the deluxe CD. It's disc 2 is an alternate stereo mix from Jacko Jaksic. Did a remix of this album.
well, that's cool.
And he did this album, and he did Brain Salad Surgery as well. He did a remix that's on that deluxe edition. Really cool remix. But yeah, my number 1, Emerson, Lake and Palmer trilogy.
And to be fair, that's in my honorables. So there you go.
Oh, wow.
And I don't despise ELP, just for the record.
I know. I was making fun of you.
No, I know. No, I just think to me it's the gateway drug. I don't know.
It is. They're one of the more accessible prog bands, honestly.
I mean, the reality of the situation is Rush is the gateway drug to prog rock because they are the most accessible, and that's what makes them so great. But I don't know.
But I mean, of bands that you hear on the radio, I mean, you still hear Carnival 9 on the radio a lot.
Oh God, yes.
You still hear Lucky Man on the radio.
Step Inside. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just I can't shit on a band that's that good. I just I don't know. Like I want to like them. I think that's what it is. I really want to, but every time I listen to them, I go, I don't know. I mean, there are other bands, Yeah,
they definitely think a lot of themselves. I'll say that.
Yes, well, you come from King Crimson. It's a highfalutin type of thing,
When you're Greg Lake Keith Emerson and Carl Palmer, you would think a lot of yourself
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I can buy that. I would never tell them I don't think they're good. Put it that way. I would be like, yo, you guys are awesome. What are you talking about?
Cool. All right,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Yeah, my number one. I think Joseph will know who this is, or can guess what my number one is.
Probably.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess.
All right, guess.
I don't think you didn't mention the Police, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I don't know. I'm guessing Police.
Here is the.
I have no guess.
Here is the.
Did you just
30th
get the box
anniversary
set?
Deluxe box set of Dookie.
Ah,
Oh, there you go.
okay.
This
All
has
right.
4 discs in it. This has the remaster, and then demos of the album, and then their set on their Woodstock in '94 is also in here, and another set is on here. Here's the original one
Yeah.
that I have had, but this has taken over. I've been listening to this a lot lately. I got it probably about a couple. No, you know what? I got it for Christmas actually.
Okay.
So there's a lot of pretty cool stuff in here. There's a bunch of stickers and a bunch of postcards and stuff like that. But I thought Dookie was the most perfect album. Came out in 1994, the most perfect time for and those lyrics were just so good, and the music was just so high intensity. And the reason why I said that Joseph will know this was that we did a show with Mark on the Freeform
Freeform.
on Freeform, which was on a Saturday, which I'm rarely on there. But when Mark said that they were going to do Dookie, I said, "All right, I will do that on a Saturday."
And then he shit on camera. It was awful.
So Dookie is my number one.
I've heard some people call it that.
So that's my number one, Dookie.
All right, man. My number one, and I'm agreeing with Chris here, man. Jimi Hendrix, Electric Ladyland. I mean, that's one of the greatest double albums. His third one. I mean, really, man. Jimmy had in his lifetime 3 studio albums.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's it.
That's it. His entire professional,
insanely great live album.
his entire,
Yeah.
his entire professional career was less than 10 years because he
10
played.
years. Like
What?
3 years.
No, I'm
His
saying
recording career was like 3.
no, his recording career, but he was a guitarist for other people for like
Yeah, but nobody
4 or
really
5 years
knew him,
before it.
though.
That's what I mean. The entirety of his career, like the dude played. He didn't even. It's not even like he was a prodigy at guitar at like 8 years old. I don't even think. I think the story goes he picked it up at like what? He was like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
So like it's not even like he was playing guitar just over 10 years. Like. And he gave the world this, all of this.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The guy's a prophet. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
To this day, man, when I hear Voodoo Child's Slight Return, I still get fucking goosebumps.
Incredible.
I get chills, like the hair stand up, man. It's just that's just. I mean, when I started playing guitar, I always aspired to like learn that, and it's just I hack through it, but it's the way he plays it. It's just. He's one with the guitar, bro. It's like when you watch clips of him playing, it was just an extension of himself, man. He was put on this earth to do that. You know what I mean? It's like he was an alien, but he came down, he fucking burned bright for 2.5 years, 3 years, and boom, gone. You know what I mean? So
a lot of places during that time. That dude toured a lot because there's.
But the amount of stuff that he recorded, I mean, the amount of posthumous releases that. Was able to come out from him, man. It's just incredible. I've never seen an artist like have so many posthumous like stuff that I mean, he was just constantly recording, man. You know, just recording songs and stuff like that. So a lot of those, like Andy said, man, a lot of those posthumous releases, man, there's some great stuff on those things, man. You know, so that's my number one, man. So Jimi Hendrix, Electric Ladyland. So. We want to do some honorables, man. If you have any honorable mentions, Chris, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I gotta see what else is left.
We should do 5. You know, if you have a couple.
I said, Green Day, Dookie's on mine. Cream, Wheels of Fire. I basically just the Grand Funk Railroad one was on there. Yeah. ELP was on there. The only one on here that wasn't mentioned was by a band that kind of predates all the other metal bands that's ever been. and they're kind of metal. They're called Budgie,
Yeah.
and the
Oh, yeah.
album is Never Turn Your Back on a Friend.
Oh, great album, man.
Yeah, and this was something that is deep in the recesses of my brain, and it did not resurface until today when I was like refreshing, making sure my list was where I wanted it to be, and I wanted to pick up some extra things just in case people picked the albums that I picked, and I was like, Budgie, why does that sound familiar to me? And then I went, yeah, and then I went and looked it up, and I was like, holy shit, I'm like, I fucking know this band. I like, and they're heavy as shit for like the late 60s. Holy crap. Like,
well, it was really 70.
This was like
71.
73-ish.
I thought it was like 60. Wait, hold on.
Nah, they didn't have any albums.
No, you're right. 73. I'm sorry. Early 70s.
Yeah.
That was off.
Yeah.
But still, it's
So 71, I think, was their first album. I think.
Yep.
it's around the
So
same
they
time.
came out right after Sabbath, like a year or two after Sabbath debuted. So
Okay, yeah. For some reason, why did I think that I don't know. I thought that they predated Sabbath by a little bit, by like a minute. But still, either way, very early metal. And
well, if they had predated Sabbath,
shit.
then they would have been highly regarded more than I think with starting that genre then, because they were heavy. They were fucking heavy as hell. They were metal, heavy metal.
They were metal.
Unfortunately, I think the only reason people really know them is because of Metallica.
Yeah, they're very underground here, man. Nobody knew.
Yes, agreed. Yep.
But yeah, never turn your back on a friend. That's a great album.
Yep.
Mhm.
That was on my long list.
Cool.
Yep.
All right,
That's my
is that
honorable.
all you got?
Yeah, that's it, man.
All right, go ahead, Joseph.
All right, I got a couple here. Most of mine have been talked about. Of course, my shirt here, In Utero. I do have Caress of Steel as an honorable mention. I am not as big a fan as you guys are. I do definitely put this lower on my Rush catalog, but yeah, I mean, Necromancer, great track. Lakeside Park, I really enjoy. Bastille Day. Fountain of Lamneth is where it kind of that's where it loses me a little bit. But yeah, I think it's a good album. I mean, it's a Rush album. It's a good album.
Yeah.
I had James Gang thirds on my honorable mentions. I had Faith, Hope, Love from King's X. The only one that I had on my honorable mentions list that I did not see anyone that no one mentioned was Venom at War with Satan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's a sidelong epic too. I was just reading that. I think it was the guitar player that was in Venom.
Abaddon was the drummer.
Okay. Kronos was the singer.
Kronos, it was Mantis.
I was just reading that. That album was kind of inspired by 2112. They wanted to write like a sidelong epic because like they loved 2112, so they wanted to kind of do the same thing. Of course, it's about Satan, but but that's
Satan brought the music back. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Is that what you got?
Yep. Those are my
All
five.
right, Andy, man, how about you?
Yeah, a couple that I have were not mentioned. Like this one almost made my top 10, but it did not quite make it. That's Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble with Soda Soul. It's a really good album. I really like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Again, being from Texas, 11 years old, listening to the radio, Stevie Ray Vaughan was on it all the time. Also, a third album by another three-piece that's still around today that just finished a fantastic album a couple of years ago. Talk about Dinosaur Jr. with the album Bug. It's a really good album.
They almost made my honorables as well. It's a great album.
Yeah, it really is. And I showed y'all already the Police, the Mandata. I know I probably said it wrong, probably because I don't speak that language or whatever they're talking about. Also, like I had said before, because I showed it, Cream, Wheels on Fire, just fantastic stuff. And Trilogy by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And what else did I have on here? Oh yeah, I was forced to show Triumph in Just a Game.
3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. And that's it for me. Everything else I talked about.
Dinosaur Jr., a not generic 90s band.
Correct.
Oh, not
very much not so.
Very,
Yeah.
They actually do a great cover of Kiss's Going Blind.
They do. One of the better songs on the Kiss My Ass album.
Yes, one of like 4 songs that I like on that album.
That I love the Garth Brooks song.
Hard Luck Woman, isn't it?
Yeah, he did a really good version of Hard Luck Woman. It's the only song on the album that Kiss actually plays on because Garth asked Kiss to play with him.
False.
Yeah, I got that cassette. Ooh.
That's false. That's false.
Which part?
Paul Stanley sings on the Extreme song.
Well, I mean,
Shudder.
that Kiss as a band played on.
Oh, okay.
the song.
Yes. Then you're true. Then that's true.
Then we take back his fault.
And they even went on the Tonight Show with Garth Brooks as well and played it.
Because Gene Simmons
Oh, wow.
also appears on the Calling Dr. Love as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is fucking great.
Mhm.
Shandy's Addiction rules. What a great band.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I wish they would have done more. Tom Morello, fucking Maynard. Oh, what a great band. Anyway.
Alrighty, man. So I got some.
Throw those
Speaking
out.
of a great cover of Going Blind, the Melvins do a great cover of that too.
Yes, they do.
But it's not in this album. That's an honorable mention. The Melvins Bullhead.
Wow.
Out of that
Way to roll it all together. Way to bring it all together, Al. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Good job.
Melvins Bullhead. That's their third album, and I got to see the Melvins. Man, they are a fucking heavy as fuck band, dude. They really are, dude. They come out of that Seattle scene. I think of all those Seattle bands, I actually looked up to the Melvins. They were like the kings of that area, that scene. So King Buzzo, man.
I was about to say it. Yeah, you said Kings. I was about to say King Buzzo.
Yeah. One of my favorite 3 pieces out of Sweden recently, and I've talked about them before, Monolord. Their third album is called Rust. They're another great doom metal, stoner metal band.
Monolord, as in
Mono.
M-O-N-O?
M-O-N-O, Lord, yeah.
Motto.
One word, yeah. So Monolord, check them out, man. A 3-piece from Sweden. Celtic Frost, man, Into the Pandemonium.
Oh my God, how did I forget Celtic?
When I was a kid, when I was in junior, I was in high school, and I had a friend that his brother and his friends, his older brother and his friend were way more into more extreme like metal, and I remember hearing Into the Pandemonium. They did a cover of Mexican radio on there, which is pretty funny.
That is funny.
But this is when they really got like experimental, because Celtic Frost is very influential in that whole black metal kind of scene, you know. But they were very, very influential. So they're very this album, they got real experimental on it.
See, I didn't include Celtic Frost because I wasn't sure how we were classifying Morbid Tales, because most places classify it as an EP. So technically, their third studio album would have been Cold Lake.
Yeah, we're not talking about that one.
That's why I did not include Celtic Frost.
Well, you know what? Cold Lake is not the turd that everybody makes it out to be either.
It's not a Celtic Frost album.
It's not. It's not. It's a whole revamped lineup and it's different. But yeah, I got you. What else do I got here? Pat Travers, Putting It Straight. Third album, which the third album was the last album that he's a trio, and then after this one, he would add Pat Thrall and become a quartet. But he did have 3 albums as a trio, so I'm including this one. And Nickel McBrain plays the drums on this album.
Nico.
So
before Iron Maiden. So
Putting It Straight, what's the album cover look like? Is that the one where like he's inside of an office?
I believe so. I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What else do I got here? The Rods, man, in the Raw. The Rods. They were a trio. That was Ryan James Dio's nephew, I think. I believe. I think so. So that the Rods, man, they're a great band. Exciter, Long Live the Loud. Exciter, another trio. And that's really it, man. I was gonna put Venom in there too, but you know, Joseph touched on them. So that's really kind of it. There was speaking of what was the Sodom, Agent Orange?
Yeah.
There's a band called Agent Orange.
And they are also a 3-piece.
3-piece. They're a more punk, kind of California punk band. I remember when I used to do BMX, and all the skater guys used to listen to like Agent Orange, you know. So I used to hear them all the time. So their third album was called Virtually Indestructible. So that's a couple honorables.
I always mix them up with there's a modern band
Code Orange.
Code Orange.
Oh, Code Orange,
I always mix them with like I always forget
Is it-
mixed Agent and Code Orange together.
Isn't Portnoy's kid in them, or he plays drums with them or something?
With Code Orange?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he plays on one of their albums. I think Portnoy's
might.
kid, Max Portnoy.
If he's like his father, he's played with everybody. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think he's starting to be like his father and probably play on like different albums and stuff. But anyway, that's the show. Third album by Power Trios.
He is listed as a member.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Cool.
There you go.
I
That's
only
just-
really know them because they played a lot with like WWE. They did
Yeah.
like theme songs and stuff with WWE.
Max just joined them last year. So
Oh, okay. Because I think Max has another band too.
Yes, he does.
So they're pretty like I think technical like I don't even know kind of a
Whatever they are, they're kind of heavy.
yeah. I don't know what they're classified as though. Not grindcore, but like kind of metalcore. It's something kind of like that. I think. so.
Tala.
I don't
Oh
know.
wow. I
don't
do
know.
know Tala. They're from here.
What's that?
I know this band, Tala.
Atala. Yeah, that's it. That's the name of them. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, because
No,
Portnoy
they're-
lives
What are they
near here.
classified- What are they classified as?
New metal, metalcore, new metal, alternative metal, hardcore punk,
All right,
industrial metal.
all right.
Those are 5 very different genres.
That's
Okay.
They want to cover all the bases there.
All right.
Anyway, that's the show, man. Third Albums by Power Trios. Thanks a lot,
Great show.
Chris, Joseph, for having us on. Next
I was
week,
trying to push 3 hours for the trio show.
Yeah. What do we got on Pike for next week? Got any ideas there, Andy?
I do not know right now.
Okay.
I've kicked around a couple of ideas, but nothing's really sticking right now.
Okay.
But hopefully I'll come up with something tomorrow. I need to get something done
Okay.
by tomorrow, and I'll let everybody know what that is.
All right. Cool.
If I had known you were at a lack of ideas, Andy, I would have run the one I gave to Mark by you first.
Yeah, I saw that, but no, I'm not lost for ideas. But also, I want to say that I've got another podcast with Jerry and Kate called 3 Shots Down, and we just finished an episode about the life of Clive Burr.
Oh, cool.
So
Wow.
that's going to be out very soon. That one is actually on like Podbean and Apple and stuff like that. That should be out soon.
Cool.
We also did an episode about Sid Barrett. That was a very good one as well.
Oh, cool.
So
I gotta check them out, man.
yeah, I've been doing that as well. So but Black Spinner Circle will always be my main thing. I just have to come up with an idea for next week, and I have a couple of ideas. I just haven't been set on one yet.
I just want to give a shout out to Michael Lynch because he stuck with us through the whole show. So thanks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You're the
Yeah.
man, Michael.
Thanks a
You
lot.
rule, brother.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's the show, man. Until next Wednesday. Cheers to all of yous.
Bye, guys. Happy Easter.
Happy
everybody.
Easter, everyone.
Yeah.
Great Easter.
Happy Zombie Jesus Day.
Yep.
Redbeard videos. Remember me when you're praying.
Yeah. Plug your thing, man. What do you got coming up anyway?
I got nothing coming up. I'm in a holding pattern. I
Okay.
keep saying to myself, this is the week I'm coming back. And then something else happens. So life is what it is. I'm hoping by April I go full steam again, live streams and everything. But as of
cool.
right now, there's 100 videos on Redbeard videos. So don't wait for new stuff. Go check out the old stuff because
Yeah.
that shit's quality too. So
All right,
That's
awesome.
pretty informative and funny at the same time.
Thank
I
you,
enjoy it
Andy.
very much.
I
All
appreciate
right,
it.
and on that note, man, have a great night, guys. Cheers. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Peace.